What's up, everybody?
Welcome to the Soul Anarchist.
The Soul Anarchist podcast.
A show about living life on your own terms.
On your own terms.
Here is your host,
With my boy,
Paul Duane.
Brothers, sisters, and everyone in between, welcome to the show. How's your day going? Are you still quarantined? Or is this COVID-19 thing still happening where you are and when you are in the future when you're listening to this? I don't know when you'll be listening to this. Maybe when you listen to it, we're still in quarantine for COVID-19. Maybe that's a long ago forgotten memory. Unlikely. But anyway, it's been an interesting time to stretch my wings a little and have some conversations with people I've been wanting to catch up with for a really long time. A couple of years ago, I found myself at this thing called Country Fan Fest, and it's this ginormous country music festival where legends and the new up-and-coming stars all play. Now, I'm not conventionally a country music fan, but one of our sponsors, Five Wives Vodka. Five Wives Vodka had sponsored the festival, and so they had some extra tickets. Steve, the managing partner over there, said, "Hey, come along with us. It's a good time." It's best described as Burning Man meets the people of Walmart, and he could not have described it any better. It was a really good time, though, and I met a band called the Wayne Hoskins Band. I got to connect a little bit with the founder, lead singer, Dustin Wayne. And just right off the bat, he seemed like a really cool guy. And for a long, long time, Dustin and I keep saying, we've got to get together, man. We got to go have beers. We should do a podcast, blah, 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 blah. But life. Well, one of the blessings of this curse that is COVID-19 is now we get to slow down a little and catch up with people we've been meaning to catch up with for a very long time. Dustin was one of my at the top of my list of people I really wanted to talk with. So we did it. The conversation went kind of long. I'll just warn you right now. And what you should know before we get into this, Dustin Wayne, aside from being a really funny guy, very talented musician, his band has opened and shared the stage with great artists like Wynonna Judd, Brett Eldridge, Diamond Rio, Old Dominion, and a humongous list of other country artists that I don't know, and so I'm not going to rattle them off. But anyway, they've done some cool things during their day. All right. Before we get into this very long conversation, this Joe Rogan-sized conversation, I want to tell you about two of our sponsors. Number one, since we've been talking about Five Wives Vodka, let's talk about them for a moment. Five Wives Vodka is made with mountain spring water that is brought down from the Ogden Canyon by hand by their distiller, Tim Smith. They bring it down to the distillery because it has a very particular mineral content to it, and it's one of the things that makes Five Wives Vodka so good. You can get a bottle of Five Wives Vodka by going to hightimewine.net. They'll ship it to your house. How cool is that? That's HITIMEWINE.net. hightimewine.net. Go search Five Wives. You can get any of the flavors they have. It's great vodka. Make some cocktails for your friends this weekend. Well, if you're allowed to have friends over anyway, depending on how this quarantine is going. But when you can, you'll have Five Wives ready. And let's also talk. Oh, and those of you who happen to live in Utah, where Five Wives is made, that's some of you. You know where to go. Just stop into the state liquor store and pick up a bottle today. Also, let's talk about books. I love books. I love reading. I love letting other people's thoughts get inside my head so I can play around with those thoughts. I love other people's experiences. And one of my favorite things to read / listen to lately are the books by the drummer of Rush, Neil Peart. He was an avid motorcyclist. And one of the things that he would do that was so unique is he would ride his motorcycle between concert dates. And not only would he ride his bike between the cities, he would take the most difficult, obscure, strange way possible to get there. He hated going the conventional way. And he was famous for blazing through seldom used roads and things like this to get to concerts. Anyway, He wrote books about all of his adventures, and I've been listening to those lately, which I just love. He recently talked about, in one of the books I just read / listened to, he talked about spending some time in my hometown, Logan, up in northern Utah. He was on just a long 5-day ride, and he loved Utah, and he stopped in Logan overnight, and he talked about walking up and down Main Street of Logan and talking about some of the businesses I grew up going to, businesses I grew up patronizing. He probably walked past the photo studio I helped open and looked at some of my photos. Like, he described the Main Street where he was. I mean, it's my home. It was such a cool thing to listen to. Anyway, here's what I'm getting at. I just got talking about Neil Peart way too much. If you would like to try the audiobook experience, I can hook you up. Audible is the best source for audiobooks, and I can get you a free month of Audible service and a free book of your choice. Just use my link, my referral link. It's very easy. paulduane.net/audible. That's PAULDUANE.net/audible. paulduane.net/audible. Or you can just go to the show notes. There will be a link at the bottom of today's show notes, which you can find over at soulanarchist.com. And get yourself a free month of service and a free book of your choice. All right, my friends, without any further ado, let's get into this conversation today with Dustin Wayne of the Wayne Hoskins Band.
I was going to ask what language, but I was kidding. I don't actually know it in any other language. Maybe French. But.
Maybe. Oh, do you maybe know French?
No, I took 3 years in junior high, so that means I know how to say merde and tête, which is shithead. That's all you really need.
Seems like it. All right. So what you drinking on?
So I figured eventually we'll get here.
We will.
And I've got the Bavarian Red Rock.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I got a couple others. Figured I'd dive into though.
Very good. You're drinking some.
How about you?
Some good beer there. I'm drinking on the other side of things. It's pub beer.
Ooh.
Have you ever seen this?
I've never had that. Cheap and fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like my kind of women.
I saw this in the store the other day, and I couldn't resist the packaging. I'm like, it's just so honest.
It is. Is there a Salt Lake City vodka company that's just called like Well Vodka, or I can't remember what it's called. It's something like that, but it's like Well. That's what it's called.
Wow.
I don't know.
I've never had it.
It's mediocre at best.
Yeah. Vodka's funny because it's at its best, it's tasteless.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a funny objective.
So you saw that Five Wives did the hand sanitizer.
Oh yeah, they're good friends of mine. Yeah, it's been awesome to watch what they're doing.
Awesome, it's completely awesome. So I went out and bought a 1.75, the big bottle, the big gulp.
They stopped selling those to the public because
What's
of
that?
hoarding. They stopped selling those.
Really?
In fact, they had to put a
Just
limit.
Completely?
Mm-hmm. Well, they had to put a limit on of one small bottle per customer because they got wind of some people buying in bulk and then scalp.
Oh, you mean the hand sanitizer? Yeah.
I you're talking about the vodka.
I'm not concerned about my health.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
Emotional and mental health, but that has to do with the vodka.
Nice. So,
yeah.
Here we are. I don't know. Those of you who are listening to this, you could be listening to this at any point in time. Who knows what's going on in history in the future when you listen to this.
Right.
But right now, we are stuck inside during this coronavirus pandemic situation. So, so what are your thoughts on what's going on right now? What's your hot take, Dustin?
I don't know. You know, it's funny how my hot take actually has less to do with the virus and more to do with society and how easily we ebb and flow back and forth on this thing. I don't know. Because I sound patronizing, and I am. but I just think it's interesting because initially I was on the front end right or wrong of kind of the hey, we're overreacting. Let's everyone just slow down, because I think that sometimes we tend to jump on bandwagons too quick. And I was pulling back on the reins, right or wrong again. But then I kind of started to see that, yeah, there was potential for concern. And now I'm kind of feeling like, okay, I think we maybe or where we're going to be. I mean, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, but I don't know if it's going to hit the pandemic like we thought it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, I have some arithmetic I run on situations like this.
Yeah. And I have too. And
And it goes like this. So I start with one known variable. There are many variables in the equation here, and one of the known variables is how bad people freak out over stupid shit in our society today. Okay.
Right.
Like, we live in a society of crybabies, for like, not all of them, but like a big, more than I'd like there to be.
Absolutely.
And especially in the realms of the media and social media. It just seems to be kind of like attracts like or something. I don't know. But there's a lot of crybaby stuff going on out there. It's why the Democrats are going to lose again in November.
Yep.
It's there's a lot of it. So that being said, I take kind of the crybaby factor of, we'll give it a coefficient of a 0.8 or something, and, and then I multiply that into the, I'm not a mathematician, by the way, as you can all see.
You can pull it off, though, if you want.
But, I multiply that, or I divide that by the current freak out factor. And so that dials things back for me a bit to like,
yeah.
I'm kind of at that place of, I think it's something to be concerned about. I was talking to somebody today who was diagnosed with it. It sounds horrible.
Right.
There are other people who've had it who said it was just a minor flu. There's a lot of variation in it. I don't know, man. Like, when this whole thing came out, I caught myself having the urge to be an epidemiologist for sure. And to be like, let me tell you what's really going on here.
Right.
Facebook
completely.
land,
Yeah. And we all get sucked into it. And we're not immune to it either,
Yeah. Yeah. Too bad that we can't get herd immunity against something like that. Right.
Yeah. No, it's the truth. And it's funny because I'm the same way. And I think you and I've talked enough, even either about books or whatever. I see a lot of what you share, and I think we're similar in as far as our takes on a lot of it.
Seems like it.
I think, and I know we're just shooting the shit here, and I don't want to get too, but there is something to be said as you look over history and you look over, I posted a couple of times on Facebook that quote by F.A. Hayek about, and I can't remember it exactly, but it's something about where emergencies usually are the excuse by which we give away our rights, Right. And, you go back to 9/11 and the Patriot Act, and you just go back over history, you go back over Russia, you go back over Germany.
Well, there's the famous Rahm Emanuel quote too. Can you quote it off the top of your head?
No.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get it for you.
I know you have your computer. I have my computer right.
Yeah, for sure. We can totally look stuff up on the fly here.
I'll find that F.A. Hayek quote.
Okay. So Rahm Emanuel, who was I think the former, was he the mayor of Chicago, or what was he? Hold on. Let me get that right so that we don't have people,
Oh, and here's the F.A.
credibility. He was the 55th
exactly.
mayor of Chicago. Okay.
The F.A. Hayek quote is emergencies, quote unquote, have always been the pretext on which the safeguards of individual liberty have been eroded.
Rahm Emanuel comes along and says, never let a crisis go to waste. He even went so far as to say, and what I mean is that it's an opportunity to do things you think you could never do before.
And there's two sides to that coin, isn't there?
Yeah.
Not to get into too much politics, but I mean, whether or not Pelosi came flying in and saw that there was an opportunity to slap a bunch of stuff onto a bill, right or wrong again, I'm not, that goes right along with that. Is she sees an opportunity where it's going to pass. Something's going to pass,
yes.
and may as well tag some things onto it.
Yep.
And see if it'll fly through.
Right.
Yeah. So there's opportunity on both sides, opportunity to correct things, but also opportunity to quote unquote correct things in your own opinion.
And correct things is a matter of perspective. Like everybody,
absolutely.
Yeah, they think they're correcting things, and then conservatives see it as not correcting things. And another level I've been thinking about this this whole situation on is in terms of our personal situations. Like, I have often thought that, like, when you meet somebody that goes through a really traumatic life experience, like a divorce or death, and they don't come out of it different, like they don't hit the brakes for a minute and like take serious inventory and make some sort of personal evolution, personal changes at that point in their life, like they never will. Like these moments of crisis, or as difficult as they are opportunities. And so like the other side of what Rahm Emanuel is saying is like, don't let it go to waste. Like this is a moment of downtime to do some to come at your life differently. Yeah.
Some soul searching. And I think that's it. It is funny. And whether I'm right or wrong, again, the ebb and flow of how you can see on Facebook, just the demeanor that seems to change. It's almost as if Facebook all by itself has a personality, and I can see the entire thing go back and forth. Whereas 2 days ago, it was all gloom and doom. We're all going to hell. It's all shame on them and shame on them. And you're wrong. And everyone's pointing fingers at each other. I felt like yesterday there was a little bit of a shift as to more, hey, I'm going to go out for a walk. I'm going to, a little more pictures of nature or something thoughtful. That everyone needed a shift. And I don't know if maybe we have some little similarities in all of us as human beings that shift us at certain points like that. I don't know, or if it's we all bounce off each other, and I think it's probably more that. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Yeah, but a little self-inventory for all of us internally.
It's such a weird time, man. So
it is.
Like, what are some of your things you've been inventorying? What's been coming up in yours?
I've spent a little bit of time, so this sounds a little cliche, but I would really love to write something, even if it's just for me or if it's for my kids and so I've been kind of trying to lay foundation internally as to that. I've also realized, I don't know, we spend too much time on petty things, and I know that all of it sounds cliche, and that's why they are cliches, right? You end up kind of inventorying on the things that we all seem to fall back on. Family is important, of course. And I don't know, a little humility, personal humility, Yeah. I'd love to say I've been writing music, but I haven't been. No, not really.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, I haven't been.
Yeah. When the earthquake hit last week, the first thought that ran through my mind was, and this has been kind of a theme on my mind ever since. I remember just it jolted me out of bed, and I remember standing in my room as my room just like rocked around. I'm like, holy shit, we aren't in control of anything.
Nothing.
Not a fucking thing are we in control of. Like, my whole house, everything could just be torn in half right now, just super easily.
Yep.
Just in like 2 seconds.
I was like, the ceiling could fall on me immediately. That's exactly. And isn't it funny? Because how long did that last? 3 seconds? Maybe 5? I mean, and flashes before your eyes. It's the truth. I had a million different thoughts. I thought doorway. I thought death. I thought my kids. I thought, all within 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And exactly the same thing. I literally thought the ceiling could come down on me any moment. And all of a sudden I went through the infrastructure where I live, the building and the floor above me. my kids come crashing down on me, that kind of thing, you know? Yeah, not good.
That was pretty wild.
But, and then it's funny because I thought about that exactly. You said that tsunami warning that was on at Hawaii. Hawaii had a tsunami warning last night.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There was an earthquake out. I don't know if it was more towards Japan, but they were under tsunami warning, and so was Alaska. And that made me think of the same thing. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I mean, it's the end of the world, or we just don't have control over anything.
So let me ask you this, Dustin, how are you a religious man?
Oh, not in the classical sense.
Yeah.
How about you? I'll turn it around. How about you?
No, not in the sense that people would normally. No, I'm actually, I would consider myself more of a person of, labels are so tricky. I was about to say something, but then I realized, no, people take it wrong.
Well,
There's
they
the
do,
cliche.
but I mean,
I'm spiritual, but not religious.
Yeah, but when you say it, I always allow for explanation, like I was going to say the same. I was going to label myself as something as well. But
Yeah. Definitely spiritually minded, but I'm very anti-religion, extremely anti-religion. And I take the view of religion, I take a very broad view of it too. Like, I think religion is any time you surrender your autonomy and you attach your ego to something bigger than you for some reason of security. And I think and for ego identification, and this shows up the way I see it, not only in organized religions, but it shows up in politics. It shows up in other social movements. It shows up in sports. It shows up in a lot of different places. Anytime people, and the hallmark of it is when people mess up their pronouns, when they start talking about, we did this, we did that. I'm like, no, they won the game. You ate Cheetos.
And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No, totally cool. But like, I love it when people keep their pronouns right. Yeah, because that tells me like, oh, you understand the difference between you and them. That's good. Yeah.
There's a book that I read last year that goes exactly right along, and I actually had to look it up because I couldn't remember it. 7 Types of Atheism by John Gray. You would love the book. Now, it starts off, first half is really intriguing. It does get a little dry in the end, but it's exactly what he talks about. Atheism itself is a religion.
Oh, yeah. It's an addiction to certainty. I mean?
Yep. The people that are like, I hate religion. I mean, I'm an atheist. God doesn't exist. God doesn't exist. Well, God not existing is your proverbial God.
Yeah.
You've gone out of your way. You've written scripture about how God doesn't exist, essentially, in your own head.
For sure. And then you run around looking for evidence to support your conclusions.
Yep.
A hallmark of religion.
Yeah. And so, to go back, when you asked me if I'm religious, my initial reaction was I'm agnostic.
Yeah.
And what I mean, and that's a label. So the explanation would be that if there is a God, great. If there's not, great. It's my moral compass, or whatever you want to call it, is inherent in me. And that's a whole nother philosophical discussion that we could go down, but yeah, you nailed it with the atheism, with religion. It's politics. It's the herd mentality.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There is one thing I really hope to do sometime in the near future, though. Like, have you heard about how the Green Bay Packers they're publicly owned?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can buy a share of the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they're all bought up, but theoretically, the shares are out there in the marketplace. I want to own one share, so I can say we, and be morally superior about it, and look down my nose at all my other sports ball friends, and just say, I bet you can't even say that for real.
Well, then you can get offended
owner,
too. You have the right to get offended when somebody says we. You say, yeah, you're not part of us.
No. Do you own a share of your team? Do
you own
your
a share?
Team? No. It's they. However, someday,
you got skin in the game.
Someday, even if it's just like a little tiny piece.
Well, I've heard that a lot of people, they'll pass that down. That's like part of the will. That's like the number one thing in the will.
Dude, for sure. For sure.
So, okay, are you a Packers fan then, or is this like an No.
No, I'm just being a dick.
Hey, cheers to that. Yeah, that went down.
Oh, pretty
easy.
quick, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
I had
another
a
one
peanut
now?
butter and jelly sandwich before, so I should be okay.
Yeah. Nice. So, what's going on in your life musically these days?
Oh, so we picked up a new bass player, new drummer in the last year, a new lead guitarist, and we're writing a bunch of stuff. We actually do have a bunch of new music. And we were just about to go into, at least we've been talking to Pale Horse Sound, if you know who that is.
Sounds familiar.
Greg over in, up in like the Sugar House area. Great guy.
Okay.
We were going to go in and record 3 to 5 songs and start releasing them. And I think we've kind of shifted back towards a little bit of our sincerity. We've fallen into the country genre, and for any fans of ours that might end up listening to this, I'm sorry, none of us actually listen to country music.
Imposters. How did that happen?
And I do. So the story goes, we were like, we considered ourselves like a life house. You remember Life House?
Sure.
I mean, we've been around for a while, so that's what we consider ourselves. Maybe adult contemporary rock, kind of that feel. And we ended up being entered into a battle of the bands, and 1015 The Eagle grabbed us. This is 2000. I can't remember, 2010. We were signed to a little mini label here in Utah in 2009, and they just started putting us in front of every country artist that came through town. And I think we've opened for 80 or 90 country artists. I've sat at a table with Brett Young when he found out his first song went number 1. I was at dinner with him, and
Wow.
so there's been some crazy experiences, and I wouldn't trade any of that. So we've kind of tried to write towards that. And I think you know me, even though we've never, you know me well enough to know that I need a little bit of depth in some things, and
Right.
sometimes country music isn't exactly what you'd call deep. So
Come on. Can't you become like the Neil Peart of country?
yeah,
start, like,
little Luke
Inserting
Bryan.
deep, Ayn Randy and rants into your country
exactly.
songs.
I start quoting a little Immanuel Kant in my country song.
should. That'd be amazing.
It rhymes with a lot.
Work in some critiques of Nietzsche's work, in
Exactly.
a country song. Yeah.
I wonder if the country fans would understand Ubermensch if I drop that in the middle of the country song.
Instead of my dog is dead, it's God is dead.
Yeah, God is dead. I know.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, So you see this? Speaking of that, this right behind me. There was no intent. This is just hanging up in my house.
Yeah.
This is Glenn Phillips. He's got a song called "Drive By," and the chorus out of it is it's a song about that his dad is drunk, hates the neighbor's dog, and he grabs his son, throws him in the car, says, "Come on, we're going down, we're driving." So his dad grabs a shotgun, and he's drinking beer, and they're driving down the street, and they're going to drive by and shoot the neighbor's dog.
Whoa.
And the chorus isn't, I'm going to probably screw it up here, but I pray, dear God, that you'll save this dog. I will never get high. I will never jack off. He makes promises, right? So they drive by, and Dad leans out the window. He says, Dad leans out the window like an idiot, and boom, shoots, and the dog was gone. Dad shot right through the chain, and the dog ran away. And he says, I hope you're not disappointed, God, because I still get high and I still jack off. And he says, you're such a good backwards dog. something like that.
How funny.
Great song. Yeah. Yeah. Now, how about you? You went viral there for a little bit.
Oh yeah, for a few days. Yeah.
For more than a few days. How many views did you end up with that?
So I'm aware of 2 hotspots where it blew up, and there may be others that I found out the other day about another place, but it started on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And over on TikTok, there's 2 people that have a lot of views on it. It's about 2.4 million views on TikTok right now.
Are you kidding me? And
then it's at about 7.2 million views on Twitter, on the one place I watch. And then the other day I started talking to this girl from this like really beautiful Chinese girl that lives in Great Britain, or lives in London. You know, she's going to school there, and we were chatting, and she told me how she was recounting why we were even talking in the first place. And she said that I became very popular in China on some social media site in China. And that's
you
how
were
she
probably
found
on
out
like
about me.
China's funniest home videos, something like that.
Dude, who knows, man? So yeah, she saw me on Chinese social media and then went looking for me on Instagram, and then we just connected there, you know? So
that's
I don't know.
Insane.
So that was another control thing. So that,
okay.
You know, as how it is as an artist, as a content creator, you make stuff with intention and you put it out there, and there's a part of you that hopes that people will connect to it and resonate with it, and that lots of people will, right? Like, I don't think we always create in a vacuum or with the intention of being in a vacuum. And so yeah, I've been making stuff for years, hoping that it would get out there to a larger audience, and I have a certain audience for that. Yeah. But then, so one day, I go pick up my fucking luggage at the airport in style.
Yeah, you were looking on point.
Thank you. I decided to travel in style that day, and
I didn't use that the right way.
And it just blows up, and like overnight. Like in the space of about 2 or 3 days, I went from having 1,300 followers on Twitter to over 12,000. You know, like my phone was just buzzing constantly around the clock. You know, for several days, and so that was funny. I was on. So
dumb question, off topic. Do you leave your notifications on? Are your notifications on your phone?
On some apps, apps no. I'm picky about that.
Yeah, I am. I every single one of them, almost 98% of the apps, not that I have 100, are off. Yeah. Like that'd kill me.
I have had no life on Twitter. So my Twitter notifications are on because I get a notification like twice a week, right?
You're like, hot damn.
And it's usually just somebody I follow tweeted something. Like Pat Sajak. I follow Pat Sajak on Twitter. Dude, he is the shit.
Is he really?
He is amazing. Okay. One of my life goals is to interview Pat Sajak.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. He is.
I'll start tweeting at him.
Dude, you should. Just go follow.
I know I will.
He's so funny. His website will tell you everything you need to know about this guy. It's patsajak.com. And you go to it and it's like, hold on, I'll pull it up on my phone. I want to make this as visual as possible for our viewers. Okay, Pat Sajak.
And I'm gonna reach in the fridge, grab another beer.
Do it. Okay, I'm gonna pull this up. All right, patsajak.com. And those of you that are listening, I encourage you to just go check this out yourselves. I'm going to wait till Dustin gets back to show him. Oh, your fridge is close by. Check out this website for Pat Sajak.
patsajak.com.
Yeah, go to it. It's like 2 sentences.
It tells you, it's 2 sentences, but tells you everything you need to know about him.
Like he's an icon of American culture. And this is all he's got. It says, this site contains news on the interesting and exciting activities in Pat's personal and professional lives. That news will be included as soon as he does something interesting and or exciting. Information will be updated biennially. Follow Pat on Twitter. That's it. And
what a badass.
Right? Yeah.
He just set it up and went, I'm going to leave it.
It's perfect.
That's probably like, I can imagine him sitting at home in his underwear, just got off of GoDaddy.com. He's like, puts it up, leaves it.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There's not even any neat formatting on the text or anything. He just
it's
types
genius.
Like
and if
2 sentences.
I mean, if you were, if some of your followers from China now are watching this, they have no idea who Pat Sajak is. They'd look at this and I don't know if they find it as interesting as we do.
No. But, I'm convinced that Pat Sajak knows some things about life. I think he does. He reminds me of 2 people. One is the guy off of, oh my gosh, with the twins, the Olsen twins. Oh my gosh, San Francisco. Oh yeah, Kate and Ashley.
Yeah, but what's the dad's name?
Bob Saget.
Yeah, I mean, Bob Saget is like wholesome. I'm thinking he's like Wally and the Beaver's uncle, right?
But he's not.
No, no. That guy's probably had more orgies than anybody I know. You know what I mean?
I've heard his stand-up comedy is filthy as fuck.
It's filthy. I've heard it. It's bad. That guy's crazy. So all of a sudden I just imagine sitting down, walking into a club. You're going to meet Pat Sajak. He's sitting over in the corner. He's got a highball, right? He's drinking a highball.
Right, for sure.
He's not drinking anything. And he's like, he just drops the F-bomb at you. What the fuck do you want? I just have this imagination. The other side of him is, for some reason, I have Tony Bennett in my head. Like he could stand up and entertain anybody. It might be a little cheesy, but he could entertain anybody.
Right. Yeah. Some secret MC skills. Ultimate master of ceremonies.
Master of ceremonies.
I think I have this, between reading his tweets, which for his tweets lean somewhere like he doesn't get too political, but he'll make political jokes that are a little tiny bit conservative leaning, but more like he's more of like a libertarian leaning from what I can tell. And he's smart. He's really smart. Like he understands things and he understands how to land a joke in a way that's really funny and illuminates things, but isn't inflammatory, which is a special kind of genius, I think.
It is. It completely is.
Yeah. But I have this, I just keep thinking like for a guy that has spent all of his years just like spinning a fucking wheel and watching Vanna touch squares for America. And he's clearly a smart guy. I've wondered like if there was a part of his career where he's like, I have more to offer than this, like I think there's more to life than this wheel. I've wondered like in the boredom of all that, like what he's thought about, what he's discovered and watching people and just being in that, the simplicity of it.
Yeah. Cause it's not like the format changes and it's not like it's, I mean, really, it's kind of the same thing.
It's not like he's Alex Trebek.
No, and however, the 2 of them though are icons.
Right.
Alex Trebek though is the guy I would love to sit down and have a conversation with. And what's funny is, for all we know, Pat is much more intelligent than Alex is.
I think he might be.
For all we know, he might be.
I would put. Yeah. I don't follow Alex Trebek on Twitter or anything.
I don't either, but however, when he found out he had cancer, I was a little. I mean, that's Jeopardy's iconic. So is Wheel of Fortune, but
yeah,
Jeopardy's iconic. Poor Alex, but I heard that he's doing well. I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah, that's because everything on Facebook's true, right? So that's what I heard on Facebook.
Speaking of old school game shows, The Price is Right.
Oh yeah.
The thing I loved the most about The Price is Right was the girls.
We all did.
They were all so hot. Yeah.
Oh man, I stay home from school. You were sick from school back in the 80s? Oh man.
Oh yeah, Price is Right for sure.
Damn right.
Not missing that.
And I used to do a pretty good Bob Barker impersonation. I can't now, but All you need, you take the straw, you pull the wrapper off, you roll the straw up in a little ball, and you put it on top of the straw. That's the impersonation. That's all you need, you know?
Nice.
However, he did rejuvenate himself. Not that he needed it when he was in, was it Billy Madison? No, not Billy Madison. Happy Gilmore.
Right.
Yeah, the price is wrong, bitch, or whatever he says.
Right.
Yeah. Do you remember, what the hell was that? There was a game show that had little monsters that would come out and like little cartoon monsters. Do you remember that back in the 80s? I don't know. I don't remember that. I'm trying to remember the name of it. No. Oh.
Yeah, I can't think of what that would have been. But so what music are you listening to these days? If you're not listening to country music, you traitor, you faker.
What's really funny is I'm listening to what I consider more.
What?
So I go all over the place, but I do listen to what I considered real country music. It's Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson, maybe not his new album. His new album,
country.
What's that?
That sounds very country.
Well, they do, and I'd have to send you some music, but Tyler Childers or Childers, or however you want to say it, is amazing. Sturgill Simpson is amazing. In fact, you would really like his second album. He talks a lot about drugs and God and philosophies. In fact, his opening song is called Turtles All the Way Down, which is an analogy. I don't know if you ever heard that analogy or that story about what Turtles All the Way Down represents.
No.
So the story goes that this man is standing up in front of a group of people, and he's talking about the world.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the earth and how it spins through space and how the moon rotates around the earth rotates around the sun, and all of it, the whole solar system is moving through space, right? And he gets done, and he's an astrophysicist or whatever, and this little old woman comes up, walks up with her cane and says, that was a really cute presentation. He goes, well, thank you. She goes, but you know, it's all garbage. He says, excuse me? He says, well, yes, it's all garbage. The earth doesn't float in space. He goes, well, okay, what does it do? She says, it sits on the back of a giant turtle. And he says, okay, well, what does the turtle stand on? She says, that's very funny. It's turtles all the way down. Turtle on turtle on turtle on turtle. Okay. Now, and it's actually David Hume, I believe, is one of the first ones. It might be Manuel Kant. Anyways, what it is that your premise of what you believe is built on something else that someone else believed or someone else believed. And so every single truth you know is based on another truth that you think you know, all the way down to the point that really in the end, we're not even sure if we know anything.
Right. I like
so
that.
That's a country song.
Really? So there's already a Neil Peart of country out there.
Yeah. And he's kind of a badass. He actually lived here in Utah for 3 years.
What?
Yeah.
I'm going to check this out. What's this guy's name?
Sturgill Simpson.
Sturgill Simpson. So, okay, I'm going to check. I'm writing this down. So let me ask you this. Do you think that's his real name, or did is his name like Frank Smith?
I don't know.
And he needed
it's probably
a sounding name.
Some Yiddish name.
Because Sturgill Simpson, that's country.
That's country.
That is. It smells like a little bit of cow poop and dust and a little gasoline. That's what I smell on that for sure.
A little bit of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I wonder if that is his real name.
Whenever I hear country artists, like if I ever catch some of the CMAs or something and I hear their names, I'm like, there's no way. There's no this is so, those names are so manufactured. It just sounds too country. Too country.
Let's see. I'm looking on Wikipedia. See if because there's truth on Wikipedia.
I hope he has some weird Jewish name.
Yeah, probably is. That's exactly what I think. It's some Yiddish, like
Eric Weinstein or something.
Yeah, Akshalom.
Yeah. He's a Hasidic Jew. Well, he has a kippah under his cowboy hat. You just don't know.
No. Born June 8th, 1978. If that's his real name, damn right.
Wow. That's real.
Birth name is John Sturgill Simpson.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
I don't fault him for dropping the boring name. I've done the same thing in my life. I dropped one of my boring names.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Well, so did I.
Yeah? Which one did?
My last name's not Wayne.
What is it?
It's Bangeter. How's that for a Utah name?
Yes. That's not very country. No, Dustin Wayne though, very country.
Yeah,
it's very
country. Well, I told you we got signed to a little label in 2009, and the label said because nobody in the band, the Wayne Hoskins band, nobody in the band is named Wayne Hoskins.
I was wondering about that,
and I'll tell you the real story. But we needed to distract from everybody saying, well, who the hell's Wayne Hoskins?
Right.
Who's Wayne? So I get called Wayne, all the time. But
sure.
So I took the stage name Dustin Wayne. My lead guitarist was his name's Dave Lund. He was going to take Dave Hoskins. Then it would all be beautiful. So Dave and my keyboard player worked for Centerville City here in Utah. Mm-hmm. Right out of high school, and they worked with a guy whose name was Wayne Hoskins. God, I probably shouldn't be telling this. Nah, hell with that. And he was
named after one of their coworkers.
Well, kind of, yeah. Yes, yeah. It's like Leonard Skinner, except for worse. So Wayne was, when you're 19, mid 60s is really damn old, Mm-hmm. So he was the guy that drove the big, huge tractors, right? The lawn mowing tractors, the big ones.
Oh yeah.
And he was an old Vietnam vet, kind of a badass from what I understand. I've never met him before. And they said, anyways, they would leave work every day, 19 years old, and they'd drive by the Target in Centerville. And there would be it was a Ford Bronco 2. And we promised ourselves that the first album we ever released would have a Ford Bronco 2 on the front cover. We didn't do it, but anyways, he was always sitting in it. 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. He's sitting in his car at Target, in the parking lot.
He's a government worker.
No, probably. Yeah, exactly. He had the slow sign with him. Anyway, so they noticed this for a few months or, however long. Anyways, from my understanding, Target installed cameras in the parking lot.
Because of him?
No, they just installed them just for safety's sake.
Oh, okay.
And Wayne was let go from the city the next day. Wayne was sitting out in the car without any pants on. And admittedly, if you had to choose between the Walmart parking lot or the Target parking lot,
Target,
and you're planning on taking your pants off,
much classier.
Target all day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. For sure.
Not even a question.
Yeah.
So I applaud him for that.
I like the namesake of your band even more now.
Mm-hmm.
So
everyone kind of does.
I want to run something past you. I think I may have mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again. If you ever need to fire your bass player and get a new one, bring me on. Or we start another project called the Wayne Duane Band.
I'm in. Let's just do it. We'll rewrite the lyrics to a bunch of covers and just release an album doing that.
Cool. Okay.
Whatever the hell you want to do. I don't give a shit.
Sweet.
The most important thing is the music videos, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of music videos, oh my gosh. I've seen the best music videos of my life this week. So there's this series on Netflix right now that people are talking about a lot called The Tiger King.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been watching it?
No, not even the least.
So this guy, it's the story of a couple of different people in the southeast United States that had like big cat sanctuaries or big cat zoos or
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and they fought with each other. There was like 3 or 4 of them. They were all each other's arch nemesis, and the battles were fierce, like to the death. It was crazy. And this one guy who'd call himself Joe Exotic, and he was this like gun packing, gay guy with multiple husbands who owned all these tigers, who was also like, he made country records, and like he
No, I have to see it.
I mean, there's so many things about him I can't even begin to start, but he made a couple of videos. And even it's a documentary. Okay. It's all very true story. He's in prison at the moment.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But,
mostly for the country music, right?
What's that?
Mostly for the country music, right?
One could write a country music song about what he went to prison for sure.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. But there's this other guy called the Doc. He's this other this big animal or big cat keeper type dude, and they're opponents. And at one point, even the Doc looks right, and the Doc is like super full of shit during the whole thing. Like the whole time when he's talking to the camera, you just feel like you're talking to the worst used car salesman ever, right? But this one moment, he looks at the camera and he goes, "But his music videos are really good. Like you've got to see them, you know." And like for a minute, he tells the truth,
and they're
amazingly bad. I mean,
they're amazingly bad.
They're so bad. But that's what makes them so good.
Yeah,
you know, it's like somewhere in between Flight of the Conchords and Napoleon Dynamite, and and maybe even a little Tenacious D. You know, like mix in some Spinal Tap, and some country artist. I don't know. We have to mix some country.
Greatest
in there
rock
somehow.
band of all time, Spinal Tap.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was just insane. You got to watch it.
What's it called? The Lion? The Lion King?
It's called the Tiger King. I think it's what it's called.
The Tiger King. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching it right now, but I can't even think of what it's called. Tiger King. I think it's. I usually don't get excited about the thing like everybody's watching it, you got to watch it, blah, blah, blah. Usually that's a sign for me to go the other way. But my friends were like, "No, really, you really, 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 really have to watch it." And they caught me in a moment of weakness. And within the first 4 minutes, I was just like, my jaw was on the ground. I'm like, I am so in. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. You know.
Well, because I've seen mixed reviews on it. Some people are saying, I don't know what the hell I just watched. I'm never going to be the same again.
For sure.
Or I love it, you know, and I'm good with that. You know, if there's a disparity between the two, I'm good with that. If everyone's like, I don't know, I'm trying to come up with something, but
usually
that everyone loves.
That's a good sign when people are like, I will never be the same again. Can I get part of my life back? That's where I'm like,
right.
I'm going to get in line for that.
I want to watch that.
That sounds interesting.
Well, it's like when I get on, so I have Vudu, right? Not the religion, but the app, the movie app on that's what I use.
Okay.
Like 400 movies or something like that. So when I see, and I've gotten older, when I see the tomato meter is like 98 and the star rating from the users is like 2.5, I'm like, that's my movie. I'm watching that shit. I'm watching that shit. The movie critics love it and the crowd absolutely hates it. It's probably my movie, you know?
Mm-hmm. What about the other way? Crowd loves it. Critics hate it.
Oh, I got into a little bit of a disagreement yesterday with somebody, and God, this is where everyone's going to shut off the podcast is I'm not a fan of the Beatles. I'm just not.
Oh, dude, guess what?
I know. I'm sorry.
Guess what, dude?
I give them
I'm not
give them all the
either.
props.
I'm not either.
But I give them
I
give them all the props.
I never listen to them.
Never.
Ever.
Never.
Ever. Ever.
And I am such a pretentious asshole when somebody says, so I've got this. So when somebody says, oh my God, I love music. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. What do you listen to? They're like, well, let's see. I love the Beatles. I love Pink Floyd and I love Led Zeppelin. I am a huge Janis Joplin fan, and I love Bob Marley, and I think Nirvana really changed the world. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. You can buy all their t-shirts at Walmart. It's amazing. So I feel that way about the Beatles, right? Anyways, I got into a discussion with them. It was a number of people, and I said, to me, the Beatles is the Avengers movie series. Number one grossing movie of all time is Avengers Endgame. That's that to go with what you just ask me, where it's 5 stars and the critics are like, it's the Avengers. Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm probably an asshole. I am. I'll agree with that. Cheers.
Hey, cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
To being an asshole. Cheers, buddy. Yeah. 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 My lack of faith in the Beatles has been an odd thing. You know, sometimes it's hard to tell people, you know, like when they find out I love music and then I have to break the news, but I have a dirty little secret, you guys. Like,
it breaks people's hearts. They don't. It's outside the realm of understanding for a lot of people.
So let me ask you this: do you think that people actually like the Beatles, or do you think people know they're supposed to like the Beatles and so they do?
I think it goes back to they were young. Who were the again? So to go with the Crybaby theme you were talking about earlier, right? The Crybaby theme is the masses. God, I'm gonna just keep going down the pretentious road here.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's just be assholes.
All
Nobody's
right,
gonna. Everyone's shutting it off
on my
right
show,
now.
by the way. You know, it's kind of what we do.
We're already there. Right, the masses love to be part of a group. Everyone wants to be part of something. Everyone wants to bandwagon. And so if you go back to their parents, or maybe their parents, and what were they listening to? They had fewer options than we do by far. They had the radio. That was about it. So they were being spoon-fed the Beatles. And, and again, I'm not taking any respect away from, because I love the way that Led Zeppelin recorded their albums. And I think they're very talented. I think the Beatles are very talented. Abbey Road, the way it's recorded, the way it's produced, it's just not. Anyways, what were their parents listening to? And people tend to, I graduated from high school. I'm old, 94. So I grew up Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots.
Same year. Yeah.
You know, did you really?
Yeah.
We're old as hell. Nah, not really. But a lot of people still listen to the music they went to high school with. And I don't quite understand that. So you go back to their parents, they were listening to the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and they were listening to all that. So as those kids were growing up, that's what they attached themselves to. It's an emotional attachment. I don't think it has to do with they love the music or they love the emotional attachment to it. That was a really long answer to your question.
That's fair.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you're supposed to.
I think so. You're supposed to like the Beatles. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if the Beatles were to have come out in like 2020 when we have Pro Tools and laptops that are wildly more powerful than any recording studio ever imagined back then, and cheap mics that are better than anything they ever had before, and Spotify and the ability to just record something in your house for almost no money and put it out. Would anybody give a shit about the Beatles?
There's a band. Have you ever heard of the Jayhawks?
Yeah.
No,
but I couldn't quote any of their music, but I know the name.
No. But I really like the Jayhawks. They sound a lot like the Beatles. Here I am, such a fucking hypocrite. You know, they sound like the Beatles. Why aren't they huge? Why aren't they just blasting huge?
Right.
Because I agree with you. Would they even be heard? Would they even be signed? Right. I don't think they would.
What do you think about? Okay, so we live in this really interesting time for music, and you know, you and I we're old enough to have seen very different, to have lived a lot of life on both sides of it. You know, like a lot of our life growing up as kids, we were very entrenched in the physical unit paradigm. You know, cassette tapes and CDs that was it. You know, and and then we've come along as we've moved into the digital world and seen it all happen. What do you think? Oh God, I just totally lost my train of thought.
No. You know, it's interesting.
Go ahead.
I love that you said physical unit, right?
Yeah.
We could take that a number of different ways. I won't. I probably should slow down on the beer here.
No. Go more. We're home.
So there's something about that this generation doesn't understand about making a mixtape.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And it's funny they call it a mixtape, but they've never touched a tape before.
No, and they make playlists on Spotify or whatever, and but the problem is they don't really hit it. So, wow. So Seal, the artist Seal.
Oh, we're making all kinds of dirty confessions today.
I know, me too.
I like
had
Seal.
a poster. I loved his first album and his second album. And the minute they put that Kiss from a Rose on Batman, I was done.
And Crazy.
Crazy is so good.
It is
that album
so good.
Is so good.
Yeah. Some of his albums are just phenomenal.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
But they'll never hit radio, of course. I mean, Crazy did, and so did Kiss from a Rose, which I loved. I loved Kiss by a Rose. In fact, my bass player, who we're about to fire and hire you, Clark. Yes. Do you know Clark Cannon? Do you know Clark?
Who?
Clark Cannon. He's our bass player. You need to know Clark. I'll introduce you on Facebook or whatever.
All right.
Great guy.
So he can train his replacement?
We'll put him on the accordion or something.
Okay,
like
perfect.
He sings Kissed by a Rose whenever we do sound check.
Nice.
He does the
oh yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. Anyways, 1990, I think, God, was it 91? Maybe it was 91 when that album came out. I forced myself, because I didn't like it. I put it in the CD player and I forced myself to listen to the entire thing. Kids don't do that anymore.
Right.
You know, they want it to be immediate. They want it to be, God, I just feel like this is the same thing my parents said about me and their parents said about them.
Goddamn kids don't appreciate anything.
Exactly. There's something to be said about, it's the wrong wording, but the slow burn, you know?
For sure.
There is.
Man, I miss so much the days of sitting out in the parking lot in front of my favorite CD store on Tuesday morning at 9:50 because they open at 10 and my favorite new band is coming out that day, and buying the CD and sitting in my car and like unpacking it, pulling it out and like looking at all the album art that emerges, you know, and like putting it in the CD player and just sitting in my car and like thumbing through the liner notes and the new photos and oh my gosh, he got a new haircut and oh my God, what symbols are they using now? And oh, these lyrics, they're amazing. And what's going, you know, like
the lyrics and who produced it. And
yeah. I miss that.
So do I. I think the subtlety of it, the simplicity of it. I worked at Warehouse Records on 5th South in Bountiful.
Oh yeah.
Late senior year and right after graduation, I worked there. So, oh my gosh, now I forgot the Pearl Jam's Vitology came out.
Right.
And I was working at the store and we were there till, I think it was set to quote unquote release at midnight. So we were there at midnight to sell it at midnight. And we were there probably 2 or 3 in the morning.
Sure.
Or standing up in front of Smith's grocery store trying to buy tickets.
Oh, I've slept in front of a Smith's to buy concert tickets.
Told the Wet Sprocket. Slept out front. Second in line.
Mine was Rush.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Me and a couple of my best friends, we slept out in front to get Rush tickets.
And our experiences are different than what theirs were, and, you know, or what theirs will be, I guess. Or,
yeah.
I'm grateful because my kids have all gotten heavy into music.
Very cool.
And they're a little bit pretentious like me. They go and find their own stuff.
Nice.
You know? But at the same, so what is it? The complex that had that VIP group pass or something you could buy where you would jump to the front of the line or something like that?
I didn't see that.
I can't remember. My son, Cole, got it. And I'm trying to remember the artist he saw there. He saw Russ there. I don't know if you like Russ, the jazzy rap. I actually like a lot of the stuff.
I would probably like that. Just jazzy rap. There's a lot of hip hop I listen to that could be described that way that I love.
Well, we've talked about Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, hell yeah. All that whole world. I love it.
I'm shocked. You posted, was it you? No, it was I posted Mute Math. You commented. You posted Tribe, and I was like, oh my god,
Dude.
it's like me all day.
Yeah, Mute Math.
Mute Math,
Amazing. How did you discover Mute Math?
I have no idea.
I'll tell you how I discovered Mute Math. It was totally by accident. I tried not to. So 30 Seconds to Mars was coming to town several years ago. And they were touring with this crappy little band from Provo called the Neon Trees I didn't care about.
Never heard of them.
Yeah. And which is funny because Tyler, the lead singer, he's one of my friends now. Like, I love
he's
him,
a stud.
I love Tyler. I love their band. Like, anyway,
they're
but
awesome.
at the time I didn't get it, you know? And so it was Neon Trees, Mute Math, and then 30 Seconds. And they were playing at the Union Event Center. It was called something else at the time over there in Rose Park. And my brother and I were going, and I just wanted to get there late enough that I would miss the two openers. I'm like, these openers can fly a kite, man. Like, I don't even care. So we went really late. And as we walked in, Neon Trees was up there doing their last couple songs, and they were good.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I get to reconsider my
Stage
views
presence, music,
dude,
everything.
Tyler
Amazing.
Glenn is one of the best frontmen I've seen.
Absolutely, completely underrated. He is the Scott Weiland of our generation.
For sure. For
You
sure.
know?
Yeah, he is phenomenal. Yeah, it's crazy that he lives here and we get to be friends with him, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I love what they do. But then Neon Trees got done, and then Mute Math came on stage and like changed my life.
Oh.
Blew my mind to pieces. I have never seen a performance that energetic, that musically impeccable, that vibrant. Like I've just never seen anything like that before. Is incredible. I mean, and I say that running the risk of blaspheming my dear Rush, you know, like
Who?
Rush, the greatest band in the history of greatness, you know. But Mute Math, holy shit, you know, and it was I've just never seen anything like that before, never experienced that. And then 30 Seconds to Mars got up on stage, and Jared Leto couldn't even hold a candle to Mute Math. And he tried. Really? It was obvious. And I've seen 30 Seconds before, and I've seen them do a great job. But on this particular show, like Jared was trying so hard to hold a candle to 30 Seconds to Mars to Mute Math. Couldn't do it.
He hit some notes that I know. I've never seen him live. I've never seen 30 Seconds. I have their album War. To me,
oh, is that the one with Kings and Queens?
Yes, you're gonna laugh at me.
I love that song.
That album changed country music.
Why?
Now,
what?
I know.
What?
Wait. I've been saying it for years.
Well, I'm glad I have more beer here. Keep going.
Somebody in the country music genre listened to that album and saw what they did. That album, they took, from my understanding, and I could have the story wrong, they did a pre-release or something to kind of or preview to 1,000 of their fans. From my understanding, it was in LA.
Okay.
Pack 1,000 people into a room in LA. And they teach them, this is your part. You need to sing this part.
Right.
And when you go back and listen to it, it gives me the goosebumps. I've cried over that album. I'm not afraid.
It's so good.
I cry over a lot of stuff. So good. They took those 1,000 fans, set up microphones all over the room, and told them, this is your part. We need you to sing this, and we're going to put it on the album. And they sang that.
Right.
And so the group, now when you go to a live show, from at least back when they were doing it, of 30 Seconds, you as a listener or a member of the audience have a responsibility to sing certain parts of the song.
Wasn't that Kings and Queens? Because there's a big like group chorus part in that.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Almost
happen.
every
It's
song
beautiful.
on the album.
Yeah.
Almost every song on the album has that. And it was from a marketing standpoint, absolutely brilliant. And so I love that album. We used that album when we were recording part of our album. We didn't use it as far as having people sing along, but at the same time, we went with the mentality, we need to have something that people will sing along to.
Yeah.
But Jared Leto, he hits some notes that is impossible.
Dude.
He can't hit them.
Yeah.
Live. Jared
Leto, I think Jared Leto is a very cool artist.
Yeah.
I keep harping on this Kings and Queens thing, but if you like, listeners, if you haven't seen the music video to Kings and Queens by 30 Seconds to Mars, do yourself a favor, like push pause on the podcast right now. Okay.
Yeah.
And go watch it. It is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. Like his vision for things, not only musically, but like visually, and the performance art of it all is epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He creates an entire culture out of that song and out of that album. That, you know how Lady Gaga kind of has a following where everyone feels like they're unique and they're a part of that.
Yeah.
I feel like they did the same thing. Jared Leto and his brother and that band did the same thing, where they made you, as the fan or the listener, you're a part of it. It's not them up here and you down here listening. You're a piece of it. And I loved it.
That is a brilliant thing, to create culture.
Yeah.
Around a thing, for sure. I wonder about, so I'm going to tie this into a thought. Remember when I went on my train of thought, it came back and it relates to this. I was thinking about the era of the rock star, like a couple of years ago, I saw U2 when they came through on their 360 tour, and we have their stage here in Salt Lake now down at the aquarium. You know, have you seen it?
No, I didn't know that was there.
Yeah, dude, you can't miss it.
I know the stage. But...
Yeah, the stage. Like as you go, so for those of you that are listening, I got to bring the listeners back into this. So U2 a couple years ago, they did this 360 tour, and their stage it looked like God showed up on his alien spaceship and played a rock concert. It was this enormous, enormous stage. And there were 3 of them. They were so big, they took like 3 days to set up and a week to tear down and pack up. And so they had 3 of them that would leapfrog each other around the country. And I remember hearing at that time that when the tour was over, they were going to like donate those stages, or somehow they're going to end up in various communities around the world and as like art installations. We have one here in Salt Lake. It's down at the aquarium down in Sandy. And as you're going down I-15, you cannot miss it. It looks like the mothership landed here.
Oh, no, I have seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what that is?
That's what that is.
I was like, what the hell is that?
That's U2's
stage. I know what it is. All right.
And anyway, I mean, it was one of the most epic productions I've ever seen in my life. No, it was the most epic production I've ever seen in my life. Again, with all due respect to my dear Rush. This was
Neil forgives you.
I know he does. Yeah. It was just insane. And I remember thinking, like, I mean, these guys are like gods out there on this stage, and thinking about the death of the rock star, in a sense. Like, how will my kids ever get to go to a humongous stadium show and see one artist, not a festival? Festivals are cool. You can go to a stadium and see like 10 of your favorite, or like 3 of your favorite bands and 7 that are like sort of okay, but like to go and see like one artist occupy a massive stadium of 30 to 70,000 people and like own that. And like, will my kids ever see that and see the, like, kind of the power of it and the majesty of such a thing? I wonder. And I wonder about how, that's fueled by obviously money, which comes down to like in the music industry, distribution, physical units, like the money distribution in music is just different now. And so I wonder if this amazing digital age that we have, which has its very huge has a huge upside. One of the downsides may be that the era of the rock star is over.
Yep. I would completely agree with you. I think the era of the rock star, I wouldn't say it's over. However, U2, The Edge, and Bono.
Yeah.
Those 2 are the songwriters. In fact, again, this is where everyone will turn everything off. My opinion is The Edge is U2. Everyone wants to say it's Bono. My opinion is it's The Edge. Anyways.
Right. He's responsible for the sound of that band.
The sound, and he really lays the foundation of all the songs, and then he kind of comes up with some of the melody, and then Bono comes in and puts the lyrics. Anyways, I don't know if it's over. The problem is the rock star that you want to go see. If you walk to if you go to Rio Tinto, right, and it's packed full, it's sold out. It's going to be somebody like Beyonce, or Luke Bryan. Neither of which wrote their own songs.
And that bums me
out,
man.
It does. It ruined. And again, when we were kids, did trying to come up with somebody. I don't know. Who were some of the biggest in the mid '80s?
Van Halen.
In Excess. Van Halen. Okay. Now we already know they wrote most of their stuff, or In Excess. They wrote most of their stuff. Would we have cared back then if they wrote their stuff?
At that age, no.
Yeah, at that age, no. So maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. I don't know. I think it is dying, and I think the upside of it is that, like my kids, they are finding their own music, and they really don't care if somebody likes it or not.
Yeah, I think the upside to being a music fan. I mean, I'll shift out of grumpy old man mode, and say I love being a music fan in 2020. Like, holy shit, I've never had more fun being a music fan than I have now.
Me too.
I love Spotify Discover Weekly. Every week, almost every week, I fall completely in love with a band I have never heard of before.
Right.
Like, there's this band in Sweden whose name I can't even pronounce, and they sing in Swedish.
I'm writing it down.
I'll spell it out to you. Dude, they are so good. They are so good. And they're not big or anything. They have dude, I have a bigger social media following than they do,
Right.
But but what's cool is that musicians with modest followings can reach people around the world.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be a rock star anymore. I fucking love that,
Now at the same time, they want to be. I want to be. I want to stand in front of a giant crowd, But there's an artist out of Brooklyn. His name is Arled Ardu. He has 40 followers or something like that on Spotify. He has a song. It's I think it's called When You're With Him. It's about him having an affair with a married woman and him questioning, do you think about me when you're with him?
Oh,
like with him, quote unquote.
Sure.
Great song. Nobody's ever heard of it. Nobody's heard of it. But it's an amazing song. But yeah, I completely agree. Matthew and the Atlas right now, I can't get enough of them. There's a 19-year-old girl out of Spain called Rita Paez that can sing jazz, like Spanish jazz, like I've never heard before.
Really?
She plays the trombone as well. Beautiful.
What? The trombone.
I know. It's the
worst instrument ever next to the bassoon.
Yeah. Which, by the way, the bassoon is in Matthew and the Atlas. My favorite song of theirs is called Graveyard Parade, and it starts with the bassoon. I'm like, God damn right. Go in. I'm so in.
No way. Dude, I feel like what we need to do, we should make a playlist of all the weird, obscure stuff that we're into right now, and make a playlist for this episode.
Okay, I'm clicking the pen.
Nice. Okay, so I got that Swedish band for you. They're called Skraekoliden or something like that. Spelled Skraekoedlan.
Yeah, I got the SKRAE.
SKRAECKOEDLAN. And their cover photo is of them playing like a garage or something with maybe like 75 people. But I love that opportunity is there,
You were sharing this the other night, weren't you?
I was. I'm so stoked on them right now.
Oh, that's right.
I love them. Yeah. I can't even understand their lyrics, and I don't even care. And there's this other little wacky band from New Zealand, and they sing most of their songs in Maori, like the native language.
That's cool.
And they kill, and they're teenagers. They're like almost done with high school. And they were touring with Ministry last year, and they couldn't play their date here in Salt Lake because it was a 21 and over venue. And so they went out to an Indian reservation, and they played a show for the Navajos, and like had this like cool moment with them, like on a street corner.
So that's that rarity. You imagine being at that. You imagine being a fan as you are, and finding out that they can't play here, so they're going somewhere, and there's 30 people there. There's 40 people there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. There's something amazing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a really bad analogy. We opened for a guy named country artist named Brett Eldridge.
Oh, I've heard of him.
So he's had, I don't know how many number one hits.
Okay.
His first song hadn't even gone number one yet. And it was called, I can't remember. Doing, You Know What You're Doing or something like that. Anyways, we played with him. There was probably 30 people there. 30 people there.
Wow.
I played pool with him. Nobody knew anything about him. Now he's selling out stadiums, you know, it's crazy. So there's something to be said about that as far as the artistry though. And I think that's what country music's missing. And that's why it's a bad analogy. As far as you finding an artist like that, somebody from New Zealand that, you know, this might be everything they have. This might be the dream of their life. This might be the pinnacle of everything they do.
Yeah.
And you can catch that moment, and they might explode at the same time.
Who knows? Yeah. It's, I love the democratization of music that this is all brought. And it brings the question that it brings me to is, okay, so the death of the epic rock star and going to see the huge stadium show versus everyone has kind of an even shot at it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And is this the paradigm of the 21st century we're moving into? Is this, I mean, it seems like power, the kind of the paradigm of the 21st century is the democratization of everything, like the Uberification of everything, the moving, the gig economy, the moving of everything down to the individual. It's very, very interesting. I wonder. Go ahead.
And there's a trade-off, right? There's a trade-off to that. The trade-off. So okay, let me back up. So I'm asking them, and if we've kind of touched on this, but I'm asked all the time, when was the best decade of music? When did the best music come out? Oh. And they always ask me, what's your opinion? Was it the 70s? Was it the 80s? Do you think it was the 60s or was it the 90s? It had to be the 90s. You graduated high school in the 90s. It's the 90s, right? And I'm like, it's right now. Best music ever released was right now. And it's because I can find amazing musicians. Marcus King Band, Jason Isbell, Brandy Carlisle, Coulter Wall, Tyler Childers, Ryex, Matthew and the Atlas. I can find music that knocks me down that isn't coming through the radio. I can find my own, you know? Yeah. But the trade-off is it waters it down. If all I do is wait for music to be brought to me, I'm going to become a fan of Beyonce. Mm-hmm. Kanye West, and again, I'm not trying to trash on anybody's flavor of music, or the Beatles.
Look, I eat at Chili's sometimes too.
Exactly.
And I like it. I'm not gonna lie, but
I went to 31
usually.
flavors, and I got a chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, like why? Anyways.
Yeah, it's interesting times. As you were laying that question out, what is the greatest era? And you're moving through like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. In my mind, I'm like, oh no, that one's the best. No, that one's the best. And I realized like they were all epic.
Right.
And they were different things were happening, but like I couldn't pick between those four.
No.
And probably not even today. Like we've been talking about, there's some phenomenal music being made today.
Right.
So it really is just a question of how we experience that music and the business of making music, and it's harder, it seems. Well, And I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, like the life of being a music maker. Back then, it was more in the physical unit paradigm in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It was your hope was to get signed and then have guarantees on physical unit sales, which were a concrete thing. And so it was a little bit more like feast and famine, it seems like. Nowadays, it seems a little more like just famine everywhere.
Yeah. And that's a trade-off. That's what I mean. It's watered down.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think that there's two sides to the story, in my opinion, or three potentially. First is if you're a band in the 70s, you're a garage band in the 70s, you're writing your own music. If you're good, you have the potential. You got to be good. That's the first side of the story.
And you have to name yourself after a major American city.
You do. Yeah. You do.
Anyway.
Which, by the way, Boston.
Okay. Chicago. I love
Chicago?
That too.
Yeah.
Old Chicago. New Chicago.
Old Chicago.
Peter's Terra
can
exactly. Suck a
Old
dick.
Chicago. Yeah, I agree. Oh my God. The video where he's being carted out into a ambulance in 85. Never mind.
Oh God. So bad. Old Chicago's the shit though. Anyway.
You had to be good. And really that was kind of it. If you were good and you could if you could get heard, you had to be in the right place though. You couldn't be in Salt Lake City, Utah.
No.
How many big artists? And I know you're thinking the Osmonds. I know you are.
No, I wasn't. But
really,
it raises another question. I want to bounce off you in a second. Finish your thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had to be in the right place. You had to get signed. And so the second part of the story, that's the first. You got to be good. You got to get signed. And the third part of the story, which is what we have now, nobody had any idea how to record. I spent the last 10 years, even with digital software, teaching myself how to record. I can record all day. You want to mix? It's a whole other animal. You want to master? That's a whole other art form all by itself.
Yeah. So
anyone that sat down in 1976 and recorded themselves with a cassette or whatever it was, they played it back and they're like, God, we sound like shit.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand it. So the ability to even record yourself and get it out was impossible back then.
Right. You were dependent upon the big money, the big dollars of the big studio to get even a decent sound.
Right. Because the masses, again, to go back to your crybaby story, the masses only, when I would present and play music for somebody and they said, they would either give me two answers, right? Or three maybe. I like it. Which is,
oh, that
or,
sucks.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Or I don't like it. The I don't like it's, or the, I know I really like it. They couldn't tell you why.
Right.
It's because they know what they're used to hearing and it's radio.
Yeah.
So
I've got a question for you. You mentioned Salt Lake City. So for those of you that may be new to the show, we're recording this. We both live in Salt Lake City, Utah. This is home. And a funny thing happens in this area. There are a lot of talented people in our state, like crazy amounts of talent, in fact. And there's a town south of here, a city south of Salt Lake City called Provo.
Yeah.
And Provo is the home of Brigham Young University. Brigham Young University, of course, their football and basketball teams have national fame. But another funny thing happens in Provo. There are two music venues in Provo. And this is a super Mormon town. Nobody drinks. These are music clubs are not fueled by alcohol sales. They're just they're fueled by something else. There are two venues. And Provo somehow, like once every 12 to 18 months, turns out an act that goes national. Like we were talking about the Neon Trees earlier.
Yep.
They're one of them. Those guys became enormous out of Provo. The Used, the National. There's a whole bunch of bands that have come out of Provo.
You can even imagine Dragons was
they have
really
roots in Provo.
had a foot in there.
Some of the world's biggest bands have come out of this 2-club town. Okay. And then up the street a little bit, like we're like a 45-minute drive from Provo, you guys that are listening, and girls and everyone in between. We're not far from Provo. Okay. We're just up I-15 a little bit. Here in Salt Lake City, we have tons of venues. We have tons of places to play. We have tons of musicians and potentially interesting people and things, but nothing important or meaningful has come out of Salt Lake City since Bobby McFerrin. Bobby McFerrin came from here.
What?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I shit you not.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
God, no
Bobby
wonder.
McFerrin.
Sorry, he's from Salt Lake. No wonder he had to sing "Don't Worry, Be Happy."
He has roots here. Yeah.
And he had to make his own instruments with his mouth because nobody would play with him. I'm assuming. I don't know.
What's going wrong here? In my mind, dude, Wayne, in my mind, like I look at Salt Lake City and like we haven't been a cool city yet, but I tell you, we're becoming one. Like this last summer.
There. We're almost there.
We're so almost there that we're there.
Yeah.
Like we're past the tipping point. We're the next Portland, we're the next LA, we're the next, Nashville. We're for sure like popping on there. And I like last year I spent a bunch of time driving Lyft between good jobs and it was interesting to bring people from the airport into the city. I got to talk to tons and tons of tourists and people love Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And it's evidenced by the fact that it's growing so much. Nobody leaves here. Everybody moves here and nobody leaves.
Or they come back.
Or they come back. Yeah. So I think so what I'm wondering is what would it look like in your mind, like for Salt Lake City to become a music city, a place where meaningful things come out of her, where we export great music like Provo does. It's gonna be the Duane Wayne band. I'm telling you.
I know it is. We're gonna be huge.
I'm just calling it right now.
Next Genesis. That's what we're gonna be. As soon as both our hair falls out, we'll be arguing over who's Phil Collins. I think there's something to be said about. Now I forgot the.
Like, what will it look like? What would it take and or look like for Salt Lake City to become a meaningful music city?
So I think Provo has something unique, right? There's a ton of, and I think that the culture here in Utah, again, for those of you listening, the culture here in Utah, there's a lot of musicals. There's a lot of church singing. We have
Broadway shows come here, first run Broadway shows. Yeah, we have a great theater. Yeah.
Great. There's tons of acting talent and singing talent and songwriting talent. And we've got Hale Music Theater, which is incredible. We have
Ballet West, which is a world-class institution in ballet.
World-class.
Yeah.
Provo has something unique because what they do is they filter it, right? So you have the Muse and the Velour.
Yep.
Those are the two venues, right?
Yep.
And now I'm forgetting his name. Corey, oh my gosh, that runs the
Corey
Velour.
Fox.
Yeah. So he really kind of says, you're good, you're not good.
I've heard this.
And he's a genius. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but he really filters it out. So he really takes the cream and rises it to the top. And I think there's benefit to that on one side.
Right.
So he has, because if we were to name the Used, Neon Trees, Imagine Dragons, national parks, right? You take those four, you could almost kind of classify them into the same genre to an extent.
Right.
Maybe not completely, but
maybe they're a function of Corey's taste.
Right. Exactly. But they're very, very, very good.
Right.
And when you come to Salt Lake, now we've talked about the other side of the coin where it's coin, it's all watered down. So I don't know if I want to become the Nashville where it's all cookie cutter. At the same time, we got some damn good musicians here. I mean, we have some damn good musicians down in Southern Utah. I mean, there's a gal down in St. George and Hurricane named Lindy Butler. She's incredible. She's incredible.
Dude, I have a friend down in southern Utah. His name's Dave Tate, and his partner Victoria Lagerstrom. Dave Tate in Europe is thought of as like the next Bob Dylan. Like,
wow.
He is phenomenal. For whatever reason, he insists on staying down there in the beautiful red desert, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an insane talent, a world-class talent. And he's just down there in the red rocks and the blue skies, you know?
So there's amazing talent here, but maybe that's either we develop the commercial side of it so that we can become more of a wider funnel and that everybody looks at us the same thing. And same thing as the Avengers, you know, or we funnel it down and to become something big. I think that's a deep question because I really believe that what it really takes is some of the states, Utah State's ability to make us more of a, not the skiing, love the skiing, love the tourism that comes from that. But when people come downtown, there's still that you can't bar hop. Maybe that's
but you can't bar hop in Provo.
You can't, but at the same time, that's why I say there's two sides of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
Provo is filtering. We're not. Salt Lake City's not. So do we make it somewhere where there's live music everywhere? And I just don't know. It's going to take some time to develop that. I don't know. I mean, name other than the Depot, Urban Lounge, or the State Room, or the Commonwealth Room. Where do you go for really good live music?
Metro. But that's
Metro,
you know. But that's part of the under the umbrella of the guys. You know the the what are their names? You know,
yeah.
I can see
yeah.
them.
They're amazing. And,
they are.
And if I'm missing somebody, I apologize. But I mean, they're amazing. The Complex, the Metro,
yeah.
The Royal even brings in some great bands.
For sure.
The Royals, you know.
I wonder if it's kind of getting back to a topic we brought up earlier. This matter of building culture. You know, I've got to talk to Corey Fox. Like it would be amazing to just pick his brain about this. But I wonder, because I mean I played in a band years ago. It's been a minute since I've been in a band, but you know, back, you know, in those days, a couple of years ago, if you want to play in a venue, it's just like, oh, are you going to get 10 of your friends here drinking beer? Cool, you can play.
Yep.
Cool, you got Thursday night. They didn't give a shit about how good you were. They didn't ask to hear a demo. They didn't care. No, there's none of that. It was just about selling beer. And with all due respect to my beloved beer,
by the way,
it's a bit
I'm
of a
out.
Distraction. You are?
Yeah, I need to go hit the fridge here in a second.
That's fine. Yeah. But I wonder about, you know, it'd be interesting to talk to Corey and see how he keeps Velour financially feasible without alcohol sales, and because a venue's got to make money to be able to keep the stage and the stage lights on and the sound on. But then beyond that, the other interesting thing about the Utah County crowd is those kids, they don't really have anything else to do. You know, like they don't, I mean, there's stuff to do, but going to see a live band at Velour is one of the top 5 things to do, you know, in that boring little Mormon college town. Right. In Salt Lake, it's a little different. Like you can go get shit-faced at this bar, or go get shit-faced at that bar, or that bar, or that bar, or that bar, or that bar. And it's, I wonder, I mean, but this is a problem not unique to Salt Lake. Like every other music city sells alcohol too, you know?
Right.
So I just wonder what it would take. And there's a version of reality, I think, where somebody cracks the code and steps up and does the thing that launches something really meaningful out of Salt Lake City.
And it's funny because I consider there's a line drawn between, I throw the Depot in with, and I love Troy Stubbs over there. He's the new GM. He is a stud. He is trying to turn that into both a big venue and a small venue, if
Troy
that makes
Stubbs?
sense. Yeah.
At the Depot?
He's
That
the
name
GM.
sounds real familiar. I think
I'll have to tell you, I probably shouldn't tell you a story about I saw Minnie Driver and Martin Sexton there, and Troy was working the bar. We'll end the story there because that's about all I remember after that. But anyways, Troy's a stud. So he's trying to take that in two ways. Now, previous to him, he's only been in there for I think 3 weeks. I would classify that Red Butte, Vivint, the where the jazz play.
Yeah.
I would kind of throw it into that genre. Like that's a big venue.
Right.
3,000 people. However, you take places like Urban Lounge or the Metro. How can we make those exactly what you said? They cracked the code. How do we do it? In my opinion, they might need a little bit of an upgrade. And that sounds wrong, but I mean, when you go to the Depot, it's an event.
Yeah. When
you go to Red Butte up at the University of Utah, it's an event. It's nice. It's beautiful. There's a setting to it. When you go to Urban Lounge, it's a bar in the corner and everything's black. Same thing with Metro.
Right.
Maybe it's somewhere in between. I don't know.
Interesting. I propose that we take a beer and pee break right now and then come back with some finishing thoughts. What do you think?
I'm in. High five.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Me too.
Nice.
Hopefully you couldn't hear me singing in there. I'm like Edie Brickell when I pee.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I'll wait for that joke to settle in. It'll hit you a couple of days later.
Wait, hold on. You sing what?
I sing when I pee, much like Edie Brickell. That's an old joke.
Hold on. I love Edie Brickell.
So do I. Do you remember her video? Where she's out like in a
apparently I don't.
Oh, what the hell's the name of the song? I'm not aware of too many things.
I am what I am. Yeah. I love that song.
Yeah, I am what I am. So when you watch that video, she's squatting the entire time.
I gotta watch it now. Yeah.
Okay, so I've been saving this. This is the
juicy
IPA Juicy Pale from Red Rock. I've been saving this. It's the hazy pale,
unfiltered.
So we're gonna see here.
Oh,
I know I'm dumping it into a dirty glass. I'm sorry.
Fine. It's gonna be all
sorry,
right.
everybody.
It's gonna be fine.
It'll be fine. Oh, it's not that hazy.
No,
I expected more.
Let it settle a little.
No
We'll see.
Well, it's got a little glitter in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
What's your favorite beer? If you had to choose one.
So I'm Hefeweizen. I'm like a wheat.
Gotcha.
I do love the Elefino, and I have to say the Stout by Fisher's is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But how about you?
If I had to just choose one to take to the deserted island for the rest of my life, it would be Cutthroat from Uinta.
Really?
Yeah.
It's good stuff, though.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's balanced. It's like it's a really good all around beer.
Yeah, it's Uinta, right?
Yeah.
I think Uinta might be one of the best in the state. I really believe that Fisher's is one of the best in the States.
You know, the thing I love about Fisher, to me, I mean, the beer, they have a style, and it's very unpretentious, you know, and they try a lot of different styles during the course of a month, and you go in there from month to month, there's going to be different things. They try different things, and it's just straightforward, you know?
Yeah.
I think that there are, I like the simplicity of their approach to brewing.
Yeah. And speaking of culture, I think that might be, so it's funny. My mom, my mom and I are really close. She has begun to want to go out and do things. I mean, she is, oh my gosh, she's going to shoot me now that she's born in 54. So what does that make her? 66?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. 66.
That sounds about right.
She, I just went and went to a concert with her. Now I can't remember who it was we saw, the big concert at the Vivint. But she was like, I want to go do something on Saturday. So we had this thing planned. Well, it got canceled. So I bumped into something on Facebook that was the Fisher Mansion Beer Fest. Mm-hmm. And it was the old mansion, right? So I'm like, I have no idea what we're walking into. Walked in there, probably 20 people there initially. We spent 7 hours there.
Wow.
Met everybody, met the owners, met everybody, and I'm sold. It was it. So speaking of culture and speaking of wanting to be part of a club, I wanted to be part of that club. You know? That's cool. And I have become part of it, I feel like at least. Yeah. I don't own any shares in it, but we
oh, I love them. Yeah, I can't wait to go back as soon as this storm clears up.
Yeah. Well, I'll meet you there.
Perfect. That'll be fantastic. So one last train of thought here. I'm curious.
Okay.
Just let's talk about creativity for a second. And do you ever get writer's block?
Oh yeah.
How do you deal with it?
So
Fisher beer.
Yeah, a lot of alcohol, crying, a lot of crying.
Normal stuff. That's fine. Yeah.
Yes, maybe it wasn't yesterday. The day before, and we've talked a little bit about this on social media. I read a lot of Russian literature and philosophical stuff, and I'm in part of this Russian literature group on Facebook. Okay, I know I'm sounding pretentious.
Do you read Russian?
No, although I took a year of Russian in college.
Okay, you read the translations.
No, yes, I read the translations.
Okay, cool.
Немного. But there was a gentleman on this group that said, "Hey, I'm trying to write myself, and I keep running into writer's block. How do I deal with that? What's some suggestions?" And for me, it's all about music and film and really reading itself. I mean, you have to find, you don't find somebody to pattern yourself after, but you find a multitude of things like a great film or a shot out of a movie or a great piece of music that helps you all of a sudden just fall into that soft spot that is so sensitive. And when I write a song, there's times I'm like, I'm hanging by a thread right now. If somebody walks into this room right now, I'm going to lose everything. But you have to fall into that soft spot. And I mean, you're doing the same thing. You're creating content and you're creating beauty, and you're creating, even if it's humorous or it's violent, there's still beauty in it. It's still creativity. And it's such a subtle point because it has to be real and sincere.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I, if we sat down, we could write, no offense against everybody that's a fan of Disney, we could write a Disney movie in a day.
For sure.
We'd follow all the cliches. We'd follow all the cookie cutters. But for you and I to make something sincere, it's delicate, I think. I don't know. What do you think? You do the same thing.
Dude, so in the creation process, I'm one of the creative acts I'm in the middle of right now is writing. I'm working on a book, and
awesome.
And that has been for lack of a better term, just a mind fuck.
Oh, I can't even, because one day you're in it, next day you're writing, and all of a sudden you realize I just wrote 20 pages of shit.
Exactly. I wrote
for me. I wanted somebody
half
to read
of
this and
book.
look at me and go, God, he's really smart.
Yeah.
You can't write that way.
I had this moment where I was just like wildly inspired, and I went on a writing binge for a while, and I wrote like half the book in almost no time. I went Hunter S. Thompson on it, And I didn't do any speed though. I've never done speed. Just for the record. I mean, not that it matters. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, I'm not passing judgment at all.
No, it's fine.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying I won't, someday. I mean, I kind of feel like if I'm going to be a real writer, maybe someday I should just take some speed and write a whole book in 4 days.
Yeah. Or move to Cuba, Hemingway, all day.
Yeah. Something like that.
Fuck it.
But yeah, man, like I wrote a bunch of stuff, and then I ran out of gas for a minute, and I came back to it, and I realized it sucked so much. And not only that, but like one of the things I find is so difficult is this dance between writing, or not just writing, but like creating. And this pertains to photography, to music, to podcasts, to whatever, all the things. How will this be? This question always comes up. How will this be received? You know? And then that question right there, if you follow it, for me anyway, it goes into this super deep rabbit hole of motivations and what the hell am I even doing on this planet? And oh my God, nothing even matters. Actually, everything matters, but it doesn't at all. And then
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like a kind of a short highway to my existential crisis, sometimes.
Which I'm on the same path.
Nice.
And that's where you and I connect, and I know damn well you and I connect on that same path.
Sweet. Yeah, because on one hand it's like, oh no, man, like fuck everybody else, just create to create. That's cool. That's super pure, bro.
Yeah. But
however, it's like I was talking to a friend the other day about comedy, and that's another art form I've dabbled in over the years. I used to do stand up, and I
didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you've got to know Guy and Marcus.
Oh yeah, I love those guys.
Oh
yeah, they're fantastic. Guys. I love those guys. Both of them. They're wonderful.
Guy is one of the guys I got into a little bit of a discussion with about the Beatles. He loves the Beatles.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And Marcus doesn't love Rush. I found that out the other day.
Well,
I was disappointed.
I should off record. No, I'm teasing. Marcus, you're the badass. You're a badass.
Marcus is great.
The badass. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine. We can be different religions. It's okay. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm a multi-faith kind of guy. So, but anyway, yeah, like with the comedy thing, I was talking to a friend of mine and who had tried to make the situation was this. He had tried to make some comedic remarks on Facebook, and it got him into a lot of trouble, actually.
Really?
And so we sat down one night over some beers and kind of unpacked it all. And one of the things that became really clear in our conversation, and I've heard this from other comedians too. Excuse me, I got the burps from this
Hey,
Cheap
we're
fun.
drinking beer, baby.
We are. We are. Comedy, like, whether your joke is funny or not, is up to your audience. It's not up to you.
Subjective.
Like, if they don't laugh, it wasn't funny. You know? And so it's this really weird paradigm where, like, it's easy on one hand for me anyway, to say, like, to a painter, oh, just paint your soul on that canvas. Like, forget if anybody likes it. Maybe they'll love it when you're dead. You know, like, maybe it'll still be great. Just put it out there. Just do it. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. That's cool. But then, like, in a medium like comedy,
not the same.
So primal, it's different. Like, if nobody's laughing at your jokes, you're not funny, and it's not working, and it's not good, and you are wasting everyone's time.
Right.
And I think music is only like 1 or 2 clicks away from that.
I completely agree.
Like, if they're not dancing, if they're not grooving, if they're not crying or dancing, or like something went wrong.
Yeah.
And that being said, like, not everybody needs to understand your art. In fact, that should never be the case. We're not trying to be Chuckarama here, you know, like, with all due respect to Chuckarama. I mean,
no, I love Chuckarama.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll go there. I'm not holier than that. It's fine.
No, Chuckarama.
I already admitted I eat at Chili's.
Serve
once
some
in a
beer,
while.
damn it.
What?
Chuckarama.
They should.
Serve some beer, Chuckarama.
That'd be such a level up.
Oh my God, I'd be there all day.
Even if it's just Coors Light.
Oh, I don't give a shit. PBR all day. I'd be like, bring me more mashed potatoes.
Just eating mashed potatoes.
I'd be like, this fucking horseradish is amazing.
After a couple Coors Lights, I could go for some of that mac and cheese again. You know, like,
I don't care if the ice cream's gritty.
dude, if they would even just let us bring our own, that'd be okay.
What's the cork policy? What's the cork price? What do they call that?
Do they have that for beer?
This 17-year-old kid uncorking my wine.
So, dude, the other day,
okay,
I don't even know if I'm going to put this show out, but I got to tell you, not this show. I'm talking about another show. No, this show's coming out. But the other, speaking of beer and restaurants, okay? Do you know who Willie Marshall is?
Who?
Willie Marshall. So he was the first openly gay mayor in Utah. And he is a guy that drives around in a classic Corvette with a pride flag bumper sticker on one side of his Corvette and a Confederate flag on the other side.
He's like, I don't give a shit
He
what you
doesn't give a
think.
shit. He gives
Oh my
no
God.
shits. He is so funny too. And when this whole COVID thing broke out initially, he called me. He's like, hey, let's go get Chinese food and drink Corona beers and show everybody how brave we are. Let's defy death, you know? So we did. And I told him, I'm like, I'll find the place. I got this, you know? And so I was calling Chinese restaurants. I felt like a kid doing prank calls. And like,
Yeah. Ooh,
I
got some
called a
stories about
couple of PF Chang. They didn't want me to mention that. I called a couple of well-known national Chinese restaurants.
You're gonna avoid saying their names, aren't you?
and I had asked them. I'm like, so are you open on Sunday? They're like, yeah. And do you serve Corona beer there by any chance? And I was doing it at the office. One of my coworkers heard me doing it. She just lost her shit, started laughing. It was so funny. Anyway, so we get to this is a few weeks ago. This was like right before things got real serious. It was like on the brink of serious, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
March 10th.
yeah, it was around there. And we go in and we set up my podcasting stuff, and the manager comes over. He's like, so what's going on over here? We're like, oh, we're doing a podcast. He's like, are you the guy that called in asking if we serve Corona beer?
Oh yeah, he remembered.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Yeah, he keeps a good journal at home.
Yeah. But
And were they okay with it? They were good with it.
they were fine. Yeah, they just said that we couldn't mention where we were.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They have a no media policy.
Okay. Oh, no, and that's respectable. I understand that, you know.
Yeah.
It's some, I mean, depending on what it is, it's somebody's livelihood, you know.
They're
and
a
people are
national
fickle.
chain.
To go all the way back to your original, I keep referencing it, but the ball babies, you know.
Oh yeah.
Everyone wants to jump on a bandwagon about that.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I don't know. That's actually classic though. Go to a Chinese. I'm not gonna. There's somebody on TV that keeps referencing the virus as a Chinese virus, and it's just killing me.
So
I'm not gonna tell you who it is to avoid.
Not gonna name any names.
So
that being said, getting back to our talk about creativity, not happening in a vacuum. I'm a little nervous to put this episode out because we're being so flagrant.
I know we're like just dancing around all.
We're just sticking our middle fingers up to the pain and suffering of everybody in the world who's died of this virus.
And
in a way,
it is. It's horrible.
We don't
mean
it
that
way, though.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
If anything, we're just making fun of the toilet paper hoarders.
What the fuck is wrong with people? What the hell happened there?
So I heard, I don't even remember who said this, but one of my friends, don't you love, like they said these days? Yeah. All right. So
the Green Bay Packers again.
It's the they thing for sure. It's the they factor. One of my friends saw a psychologist talking about this, and the psychologist said it actually makes a lot of sense why people are hoarding toilet paper, because what's really going on there is, even though that, like, if you think about it rationally, it's a kind of a useless provision. Like, it's not useless, but in terms of useful provisions, it's down on the list. You know,
right?
It should be like you buy all the food and then the toilet paper to follow it up, right?
Right.
Yeah, because that's like the last stage in the whole thing anyway. But people are hoarding the toilet paper for no apparent reason. And he said the reason why is that it gives, when you walk out of a grocery store with 324 packs of Charmin, you feel like a fucking prepper for a minute. You feel like you've just done something.
Yeah.
You just spent $50 on toilet paper, bro. Like, bring on the zombies. I am ready. Like, I can outshit any of you guys now.
And not get a rash. I can.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't have food. Yeah, I don't have ammo. Yeah, I don't have any extra fuel for my vehicles. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Will Smith didn't need it. He'll
Me and my family are ready to poo.
Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I told you about the book I was reading. Called The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker. Right. So apparently I learned a lot about Freud.
I love Freud.
So do I. Up until, wait for it.
Is this going to make me love him more or less?
No, this goes right along with the toilet paper thing. Okay. Freud, in part of his analogy about life, everyone wants to say that Freud was all about you wanted to have sex with your mother, right? You know, and I'm teasing, but that's the breakdown or the joke breakdown of it.
Sure, yeah.
He also had a very high belief that it's called anality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that we all shit. We're all human beings. We all shit.
Yeah.
And that dirty side of us brings us back to our understanding of our own mortality. And I thought that's actually where you were going, was that when we buy toilet paper, it helps us feel like we are taking care of the dirty side of us as being human beings.
No, not at all. No, we're just virtue basically.
Because if you're thinking, admittedly, I think anybody who's hoarding toilet paper has more issues going on than what we can discuss here. But at the same time, maybe they are thinking forward and they're like, going, okay, I need to eat. I need to drink water. oh my God, I'm going to shit. I should probably get some TP.
This canned food, all this didn't eat more beef stew has to go somewhere.
That's almost right where I was going. Yeah. That's right where I was going. Put a little butter in it, a little bit of bread. God, that's good.
I just don't even have that much faith in my fellow Americans.
I
don't think they've thought it through that far.
To bite anymore.
I don't think my fellow Americans are singing the Circle of Life when they're going down the aisle.
Are we going back to the Netflix series? Oh, that was Tiger King, not Lion King. I'm sorry, Circle of Life. Oh.
Yeah. Well,
good stuff.
God.
There you go.
Everybody's bums are nice and clean today.
Well,
by the way,
I don't understand why people weren't buying wet naps, or you know what I mean? So much more convenient, so much more comfortable.
Well, you gotta have both. I think an effective approach involves both.
Amen.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a follow-up.
It is definitely.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird consumer things, can I tell you about something that makes me feel weird?
I wish you would.
Little tiny bottles of fluid like this.
They're
like
awesome.
This little baby beer right here. This little Corona right here. It has 7 ounces in it. Okay.
Wow.
It's a little more than 1/2 a beer. Because regular beer is 12 ounces. This is 7 ounces.
Right.
Okay. So when I look at this, hold on, let me open it so I can really.
Okay.
Where do my
Here? You need an opener? I got
one right here. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, when I look at this, I just think that's a lot of resource for like 3 gulps of beer. That's a lot of glass. That's a lot of sand that will never be on a beach someday.
Sand.
Yeah. It's a lot of fuel that went into melting that sand that will never, be in the ground again. It's a lot of the blood of the earth,
You're going to make me cry here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I just took 1 sip. It's almost gone, Like,
however,
why? I'm such a tree hugger sometimes.
Hey, it's all right. Hug it up. However, isn't it unique that there are certain things that you like a full cupcake? You want a full cupcake? You want a little teeny one?
Oh, such a lie.
Perfect. How about this? And I'm being such a douche right now.
Do it.
As an analogy, Salt Lake's music scene to Provo's music scene. That's a damn delicious beer right there, isn't it? A lot of effort went into making that narrow and just nice and tight little. God, that sounded wrong. Let me rephrase.
That's another rabbit hole. Or
yeah,
something.
Proverbial rabbit hole. You know what I mean, though?
Uh-huh.
It's because there's something about that. I love that.
You know what I would like more than this? A bigger one. Like, look, this is like yours, okay? To me, this is the drink of liars right here. Like this.
Oh, completely.
A 7-ounce Corona. Shut up. Like, you're not drinking just one. Like, don't even start with me on that. You're not just drinking one. This didn't come in a 1-pack. This came in like a 40-pack that's sitting in the garage that my friend brought over.
What?
Yeah.
What's your address? I'll be right over.
All right, come over. There's more. Yeah, like you don't drink these thinking like, I'm just going to have one. No. You're going to drink like 40 of them. But you're going to be that person that's like, I'm not going to eat a full, like that person in the break room at work. Like, I'm not having a full piece of cake, of your birthday cake today. I'm going to have like a little sliver. Yep. But then like you have like 7 slivers of it. It's fine. I don't care. I love birthday cake. Have those 7. But like,
it's a bag of potato chips.
The little bag of potato chips. It's a lie.
Yeah.
Right. For sure.
Right. But it's I don't know why. Why does it taste better? You remember that scene out of Shawshank Redemption?
Which
where
scene?
They're sitting on top of they're tarring the roof.
Oh, and they get beers and pizza.
Right. And the line is,
yeah,
there's something that makes a man feel more like a man when he's working, like a bottle of suds or something like that.
Right.
The beer tastes better. You know what I mean?
For sure. It's the whole lawnmower beer concept.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
like a beer definitely tastes way better after you are a little thirsty.
Right. You stand back and look over what you've done and your reward. And it's, wow, I'm full of analogies tonight. It's the same thing with the Beatles. It's an emotional attachment, you know, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It makes it better.
Are you
There's
telling
nothing
me I
wrong with
don't
that.
actually like beer? I just like what it's been conditioned to.
No, I like beer.
Okay.
But
yeah.
it tastes it goes from, so when we would record music,
Yeah.
now we're going off on way tangents.
Perfect.
When we would record music and you would record it in the studio and you'd get the tracks laid down, you'd be a 7 out of 10. You'd listen to it and be like, yeah, it sounds good. I can't wait till it's mixed. And then you'd mix it and it would get to an 8.5.
Right.
Be like, it sounds so, it's almost there. That 10% or that 15% to get it to a 10 was so much harder than everything was before it.
Absolutely.
And we called it the glitter on the stripper. And it's a great analogy. You know what I mean? It's the glitter on the stripper.
Dude, that's such a thing. I get it. So getting back to some of these creative dilemmas, I end up in that dilemma all the time. Like I'll be working on a project for a client or for work or something. And it's a solid 8.5, you know, like
right.
It's good. It's real good.
Yeah.
I also know it's not everything it could be,
Right.
but I also know that to get it from 8.5 to 10 is going to take like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And is that worth it? Like, what's the real value? Yep. Like, does that pan out, you know?
And as an artist or creator, that is where you as a photographer, as music or as any content you're creating, as a writer, as me as a musician or wanting to be a writer, which I admire you and I should actually talk to you about that. That's where we all get trapped. That's where you hear about these artists going crazy.
Oh God.
It's because they want the 10. They want the 10.
It's no wonder writers are drunks.
Yeah, it is.
It makes perfect sense.
Because does a 10 really exist? Because it's just like going back to the if you need every single person in the crowd to go crazy and laugh their ass off, it doesn't happen.
How about just for you though? Like, have you ever created something and you look at it and you're like, this is perfect. This represents the totality of what I can create. And it is an exact representation of what I saw in my mind, in my 4-dimensional mind before this all started.
Yeah.
I have too.
Have you really? So tell me about yours.
I've had it happen a couple times. So like one in particular, several years ago, I was driving past the cemetery up in the avenues of Salt Lake City.
Right.
And there's a Catholic cemetery up there, and there's this big crucifix with you know, it's rather large. It's probably 12, 13 feet tall, you know, and I saw it. And in this moment, I had a vision. I had a vision of creating a photograph there of a model. And I knew, like, everything came to me in an instant. I knew which model I was going to use. His name is Omid. He's a friend of mine. I'm like, I'm going to photograph Omid kneeling in supplication before this crucifix with a crown of thorns on his own head and wounds across his back. And he's going to be begging in supplication to this likeness of another Christ. And the clouds are going to be this certain way. The weather's going to be this certain way. And I knew which makeup artist I was going to use. Her name's Abigail Steele. She's super talented. I'm like, Abby's going to do it. And I just saw it in like a split second. I saw the whole thing. Okay. And so I went home and I contacted everybody, and everybody's like, yeah, I'm in. That's great. Okay. Which is cool. Like they were my friends. I wasn't terribly surprised they'd say yes.
Right.
But there's this whole other matter of them seeing my vision and the weather cooperating and giving me everything I saw in that. And they came over to my place one day and they started working, and like Abby, as she was making these huge gashes across his back and theatrical makeup, you know, and they looked so real, so visceral, and Omid totally got it. And I was making a crown of thorns out of wire, you know, like it was like a steel crown of thorns, and like it was just forming in my hands perfectly, exactly as I saw it in my vision as they were doing his makeup for a couple of hours. And it was like a July or August day, and you know, July and August and summer, and I mean, we often have clear skies in Utah, right, in late summer, and we did that day the skies were clear, and I just thought, well, that's all right, you know, like it's fine if the sky isn't exactly how I envisioned it. We got in the car and we headed up there, and man, I'm telling you, we got there, we got to the spot, we started positioning them, and clouds showed up. Like there were clouds there. They just materialized exactly as I'd seen in my vision. And Omid just got it. He just got it. Like he and I were like connected. Like he knew my vision. He knew how to be in my picture. And it just happened. And it was magnificent. It was exactly as I saw it in my mind's eye. And I've had that happen a few times in my life, for sure. But that's one of my favorite times because it involved nature cooperating, right, like out of nowhere. I know it sounds wacky, you guys, but that's what happened. And like Omid and Abby said the same thing. Like we were all standing around with chills, like literally goosebumps, like holy shit. The clouds just came to us, you know, like none of them could even believe what had happened that day. It was wild.
That's the beauty of it. And you look back on those moments, and it's hard to really quickly. My daughter lives in Denmark right now. She lives in Copenhagen. Yeah. And I told her all the way growing up, and I've told all my kids, that you don't understand what it's like to travel. I can sit here and tell you about the stories about me sitting under the clock in Prague for 3 weeks with a bunch of Russians, drunk Russians. Doesn't mean anything to you until you've gone out and done it, right? Yeah. And then you come back and you're like, oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's similar, right? That means the world to you. Yeah. And it should. Yeah. Art is everything.
But what's interesting about that image, to me, it is for the rest of my life, it'll be one of the crowning achievements for me artistically.
Right.
No one cares about it.
And that's the balance, because my story is not similar, but it is, right? I write a song in 15 minutes called It's All Right. And I decide at the last minute that I want to record it acoustically and throw it on one of our albums. Yeah. So it's 11. It's not 11. I started at 7. I recorded it and I called my violin player. Her name's Juliet, and she is a savant. She's 16 at this time. She's 16. I don't even, maybe she's 15. God, because her sister and her sister's husband bring her over to my house, and she plays the violin, and she plays it in probably 30 minutes. Yeah. And she leaves. And I mix that album, or mix that song, and it's probably 2:30 or 3 in the morning. I'm in my living room, exhausted, because I've been mixing and recording all day. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I think I got it. And I get in my car, and I live in north of Salt Lake in Bountiful Centerville area. Right. And I get in my car and I hop on the freeway, and I pop the CD in because that's where I burned it onto. And I start driving up I-15, and that song starts up, and I listened to it probably 10 times over and over and over again, and bawled my eyes out. That was, I finally, 20 years of trying to make music, from the very first moment I picked up the guitar to that moment. And I didn't, at the same time, like you said, it's the pinnacle of what you did artistically. Now, there are some cliches in the song. I'm not concerned about the lyrics. I'm concerned about more the intangibles. It was, I finally felt like I was a songwriter and I was a musician. Everything else is bullshit before that.
Right.
And whether somebody listens to it and goes, God, that's a great song. I don't know if I care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's the funny thing about it too. Yeah. Like I as much as I would love for people to see it and feel it and for it to mean something to them, even if that never happens, just being a part of the experience was enough.
Yeah.
Like that, like there was something really divine that happened in that moment, and I was a channel of it and a co-creator in it. And like I saw part of divinity in that afternoon, you know, and that's fine. That's all I needed, you know.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
And most people that don't do what you and I do. And again, this is where I become pretentious, and this is where I become an asshole. I really do. But what you do and what I do and what all of my musician friends do, and anybody that writes poetry or creates film, not like, I made a movie, film. They understand that it's not linear. They understand that your picture you took is not linear. You're not expecting somebody to all of a sudden go in a direct line, oh my God, that inspired me. I mean, you hope for that.
Right.
Really, what it does is it's one, you know how radiation works, right? Radiation is multiple molecular, I think I'm going to sound like such an idiot right here. Neutrons going out and penetrating everything in multiple directions, right?
Right.
And one all by itself isn't that big a deal. 40 by itself, maybe not a big deal. 3,000 or 300,000, yeah, you're going to have issues. What you hope, such a bad analogy, is that picture, they may never, ever remember it. But that might be 50,000 penetrating little teeny things that somebody in the back of their head puts back there, and it influences them down the road. And it's this piece of the spider web of their entire life that they aren't even aware of. You know?
I mean,
God,
that'd be
I'm getting
amazing.
so poetic right now. Sorry.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. It's it gets so that gets to a deeper question. Holy shit, dude! This is we've gone on for a while.
Oh, sorry. Hey, hang on.
I'm jealous. I mean, I have more in the garage downstairs. I might have to go get more in a second.
So
okay.
It's 350 South. What? I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Dude,
your
we
address.
have to.
I'm just
We
kidding.
have to.
Yeah,
Okay.
we give it out over everybody.
Right. Okay. You're pouring another one. I'm going to go grab another one. And I have a real serious question for you about this idea of witness that I want to ask you.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on.
All right,
a second.
I'm here.
I'll be right back.
Hold on.
All right.
Oh. Wow. 2005.
All right, Wayne Hoskins.
All right. So my son just sent me a text.
Yeah.
Kind of a Snapchat, actually. Today, March 24th, the first episode of The Office was released, 2005.
Wow, what an anniversary.
I know. Cheers to that.
That's special. All right. Yeah, cheers.
There we go.
All right.
By the way, that hoodie, Heavy Metal Shop.
Right. It's an institution. Mm-hmm.
It is. It is. Do you know Patrick Carnahan?
No.
Cracked Glass Photography. Yeah.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he's a good man. Good man.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, another question for you.
Okay.
We've been talking about all this stuff about being an artist and whether it matters if people see it or if they don't, and blah, 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 and, you know, kind of going back and forth on it. But you, before that beer and pee break, you said something that I think was really poignant, and that is...
Oh, wow.
This
You're sounding like my mother right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you said something that's really poignant, honey.
Your mother says that
thanks,
to you?
Mom. No, she just encourages me.
Lucky.
I'll introduce you.
So, your mom sounds awesome.
She's a badass. She's
so
a bad.
So, what do you think about the desire to have your work seen or witnessed or experienced? You know, like this is something I've been thinking about a lot over the past couple of years as I've thought about a lot of human experiences, thinking about witness, you know, and does it matter? Like, for instance, be out by myself, having an amazing experience out in the middle of the desert, having some crazy, beautiful experience, and it's just insanely sublime. And this thought always comes to my mind: the only thing that could make this better would be if I had somebody with me that got it like I get it, and was really hot. But
oh, that's three things. All right.
No, that's
we all want that. Even if all she says is, yeah, I'm in. Yeah.
Oh, no, I want more than that. Yeah, but
you're so deep. Yeah.
No, I don't.
No. I know.
Oh, there's so many jokes I'm steering away from right there.
I know. I avoided them too. Good. Okay, I did.
My daughter
not like some of the other ones earlier, but yeah.
Yeah. But this business of you know, not only in personal life of a desire to be witnessed and be seen and in moments like that, but also for our work, you know, to be seen and experienced and understood by other people. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what's that driven by? Is that a desire that's worth entertaining, or is that something we should tamp out, you know, and just like witness ourselves?
So it's funny because it's really odd. First of all, that you and I the funny thing is you and I have never met, right?
We have one time a country fan fest. I got on the Wayne.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What was I? Was I puking in a bucket, or what was I doing?
We were all partaking in verbal sacraments.
Oh, which screws me up. And I don't think I was. I guarantee I was not doing it because it scares the hell out of me. Because off camera, I'll tell you 15 reasons why I don't do it.
But yeah, a country fan fest. I was there with 5 wives, you know, and.
Oh, were you with Steven? Were you with Steven?
Yeah, Steve Conlon.
Because I do remember that.
Yeah.
You had to. Oh my! I completely
It's when we
remember
had that big trailer, the big cooler trailer, you know.
Oh my! Are you serious?
Yeah.
How the hell do I have a picture of me in really short shorts playing in one of those inflatable bands?
We were having a good time that weekend.
Oh my God!
I'm not surprised you don't remember.
I'm surprised that I would. It didn't make any sense. Let me start over.
But yeah, I've been aboard the Wayne.
So, cheers to that, baby.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think, and not to get too philosophical, I think there's two sides of it. Or no, there's not two sides. There's two of the same things. There are three. One is ego. right? Ego. And I think you and I have talked about this, and that's the balance, right? God, you gotta be careful about ego, because ego is the slippery slope that drags you into, I want everybody to love me. It's the narcissistic side. It's, I want everybody to see what I've created, and I want everybody to love me.
Right.
It's not about the art.
It's about
It's
validating me. Make me feel loved. Make me feel good about me.
Now, at the same time, as you shift back, is if life is a pendulum, one far side is ego. The middle, I call reflection in the eyes of other human beings. There's and I'm going to completely, wow, I've had too much beer, but solipsism. I know. Solipsism is...
Dude, you could still say solipsism.
Solipsism is
fine.
the ism that believes that. So there, have you seen Being John Malkovich?
A long time ago.
Okay. So that's about solipsism. Okay. It's about that the only thing that is real in your life and my life is what my mind is perceiving. Everything else is fake. I don't even know what's really real.
Perception is reality. That idea.
Yep, exactly.
Sure.
And again, it's the turtles all the way down again, right?
Yeah.
That's reflection. When you throw something out of the world, you want to see it reflected back to you. It's not narcissism, but it's about stabilization of yourself. Am I real? Do I exist?
Am I real? Yes. The quintessential philosophical dilemma.
Amen. And as the pendulum swings even farther, it's about immortality.
That's what it gets to. It's all fear of death.
Exactly. Oh my God. You should read the book I'm reading. Once you get past anality, it's really good.
I get it though. Like, I think that everything comes down to two things in life: pussy and fear of death.
Why are you not reading this book already?
I don't know, but I just believe that.
So that I will send you a video. There's a great YouTube channel called The Stories of Old.
Okay.
And it takes movies and film and breaks them down. And you've seen the movie Arrival?
No.
Where all the spaceships land and what's her name goes up in the spaceship and she's like trying to communicate with them. I know. He breaks that movie down. Once you get past his really bad accent, he breaks the movie down, and he all of a sudden, and I flipped out. I watched it last night. I was like, holy shit, he's quoting the book that I'm reading right now, Ernest Becker, The Denial of Death. He's quoting it about what the balance is of life is. Am I afraid to really live? Mm-hmm. Am I afraid to throw myself out there? If I knew that nothing mattered, if I was Albert Camus, then I realized this is my existence and nothing matters. I would throw myself out there and experience everything.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'm going to die. So I have this much time. Albert Camus has that. And then Ernest Becker, who wrote the, just like you're saying, Pussy and Death. Pussy is living.
Yeah.
And that's what religion is based on, the chalice or the,
Eve, she is the mother of all living.
Amen. That's living. Death is coming, no matter what we do. Which one are you most afraid of? Because they both play into each other.
Oh man, that's a crazy.
The yin and the yang
of all. What are you most afraid of? Holy shit, living or dying? That's next level, bro.
It is, but you need to read that book, The Denial of Death. Is it on Audible? Yeah, that's
sweet.
I say I'm reading. You think I really read? I don't even know what the hell your sweatshirt says. I don't know what it says.
Hold on, I'm gonna put it in my wish list.
I love Audible. God,
I do too.
I love Audible.
I'm so ADD.
Are you on Goodreads?
I'm a fucking artist. Do you think I can concentrate? No.
Are you on Goodreads?
No.
Goodreads.com.
What is it?
I'm going to create you an account right now. You ready?
Yeah. Denial of... I have 2 credits on Audible right now. Yes.
Oh my God.
Denial of Death.
So I've fallen behind. I really have.
Oh, there it is. Ernest Becker. Adding it to my list. All right.
So the thing I love about Goodreads is you go to Goodreads or you just Google Ernest Becker, The Denial of Death quotes, and you go down Google and you find the quotes that are on Goodreads.
Yeah.
Once you have an account, you start liking those. They start populating in your feed. It's like a social media for readers.
Really?
Not breeders, readers. Yeah.
Nice. Goodreads. I'm going to go. Okay, good. I'm going to get that up on one of my tabs, and I'll definitely dive into that. Because, I love me some good quotes like you do. Like, that's one of the, I'm always like, you're always posting stuff. I'm like, oh God, that's so good. I'm stealing it, stealing all the time.
Please do.
Yeah.
I've got probably 4 authors that I love. Dostoevsky, the author of Crime and Punishment, might be the greatest of all time.
Really?
Albert Camus, I've already talked about. Will Durant, who, when you look him up, you might think that he's just writing as if it was a documentary. He's a beautiful writer. He wrote The Story of Philosophy, which I read because I realized as I got into some of these books, I didn't quite understand what they were talking about. He and his wife spent 40 years writing the history of humanity together. 40 years. Now, if that's not romantic, I don't know what it is. What is?
That's pretty goddamn romantic.
It's really romantic.
I would love to find me a woman that would want to write a book with me for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And 11 volumes.
Wow.
And I'm on the 2nd volume. Now, I've read The Story of Philosophy, which is beautiful, and I've quoted on Facebook. I've posted his tribute to his wife a number of times, but he writes beautifully. And then, so let's see, Dostoevsky, Albert Camus, The Myth of Sisyphus, Will Durant, and Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who wrote the Gulag Archipelago. He spent a certain amount of years
Peterson
in
quotes that
Gulag.
all the time.
Yeah, those 4, they define everything for me as far as philosophy.
Myth of Sisyphus. What's your hot take on that? That's a fascinating myth in and of itself.
Well, you mean the myth itself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the meta take there?
The meta take is that we're all Sisyphus.
Well, yeah.
All of us.
But wasn't that the original point?
It was. That was the point. But I mean, he takes it into a certain point where, let's see. So there's a film out. There's another person. There's 2 filmmakers that I love, Terrence Malick and Tarkovsky, who's Russian. Terrence Malick, though, did The Tree of Life. Have you seen that?
No.
With Brad Pitt? It's an existentialist masterpiece.
Okay. And
he was also a philosophy professor. Anyways, so Terrence Malick has a new movie out that, in my opinion, should have won Film of the Year, called A Hidden Life, where this man, it's a true story, where he refuses to swear an oath to Hitler. He's Austrian.
Oh, wow.
And in the end, I'm going to give away the whole movie. In the end, he allows himself to be killed because of his treason, right?
Okay.
It relates directly to the myth of Sisyphus. Myth of Sisyphus is he rolls this rock up the mountain.
Right.
It's all the way to the top. And as he gets to the top, just as he gets to the top and he's found success, the rock rolls back down to the mountain.
And he does it again.
And as he walks down the mountain, this is what Albert Camus talks about. As he walks down the mountain, that's his time. That's where he's standing at the top of the mountain, able to look over everything he's accomplished, whether it was relevant or not, which is our lives. And he looks out over the sun and shining down over the entire mountain, the beauty and everything he's accomplished, and all the people that either he passed or they passed him as he climbed up that mountain, sweating and toiling throughout his entire life, quote unquote. And he got to the top, and the rock rolls back down the mountain, which really means our life is irrelevant. And that's what's beautiful about Albert Camus, which is different from Sartre. Sartre believes that our life is irrelevant, so fuck it, who cares? It's all irrelevant. Do whatever the hell you want.
But Camus is
Albert
saying, do it anyway.
It's yours. Now, he's saying that the beauty of your entire life doesn't belong to anybody but yourself.
Right.
And so when you take that picture and it means something to you, that's it. What else is relevant?
Everything else is gravy.
Right. Exactly.
That's
revel in everyone.
Yeah. That's how I feel about my most pure artistic moments, for sure. Like, yeah, it would feel good for other people to see them and appreciate them and resonate and see me, and I could see them, and we could see, like, maybe we're not brains in a bottle on some cosmic scientist's, lab. Maybe we're real.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But that would just be gravy. Like the experience of creating it itself was sufficient unto itself.
Right. The accomplishment of you pushing that rock all the way up the mountain, regardless if it was relevant or not, and you look back over what it's the cliche that the journey is worth more than the destination.
Joy
right?
is in the journey.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, it's similar to that.
Yeah.
The struggle is what really gives you value, not the accomplishment.
Right. That's beautiful.
And it's funny because Albert Camus wrote a book called The Plague, which applies to right now. And he talks about humanity and talks about how we degrade ourselves and we break ourselves down and we fall apart. And at the same time, that cliche silver lining in the cloud is the goodness in all of us.
I like it.
Yeah, but you have to find it. And that's what I'm wow, too much beer, but at the same time, the beauty of art is not the Avengers. I don't want to be spoon-fed.
Dude, are you telling me that you don't smoke weed?
What's that?
Are you telling me that you don't smoke weed?
I can't. It makes me cry in my underwear. I want to.
Yeah?
I want to. No, I want to. 15 times.
Dude, I'm just saying, like,
I don't know why it messes with me.
Maybe
it's not fair.
Maybe we can explore that sometime.
Amen.
Once we're not grounded, You can cry in your underwear in front of me, bro. It's all right.
No, my pants are on.
It's fine. I don't care. Whatever. I'll keep mine on. Don't worry. It's fine.
No,
I can handle my weed just fine. Unfortunately. I mean.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You get on Goodreads and I would, whatever. It's not. So here's the funny thing. This is one of those weird things where I feel like sometimes in this situation right here, you and I, right? Yeah. You're asking questions, I'm answering them.
Yeah.
I don't want it to necessarily be like that because you got a shitload to give to me, As far as what are you reading? What are you experiencing?
Dude, if I told you what I was reading.
No, I want to know. I want to know.
Oh my God.
And Paul,
I will tell you what I've been reading. I will tell
so
you.
do all the listeners. The listeners want to hear.
Hold on, I have to shut the door real quick.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
It's Boogie Nights, the novel. I'm
All
in.
right. What I've been reading lately. Dude. Oh my God. I'm embarrassed in the face of all the great literature you've been reading.
I don't read shit.
What?
No, I'm reading. I'm just dribbling. Yeah.
I'm reading. All right. Let me put my Audible and I'll tell you what's been going on over here.
Okay.
All right. The last book I've, and that being said, I've got to like bolster my credibility a little bit here. Okay. Like, I don't just listen to books, you guys and girls and everyone in between. Like, my favorite thing to do, this is actually how I do my Audible. This is me, I'm being a little insecure right now, but just bear with me for a second. So my favorite, I love listening to them while I'm doing other visual things or things with my hands, you know? And then, but most books have a text version of them online.
Right.
If you look for it. So I will always bookmark the text version of what I'm reading. And when I hear stuff that really resonates, I'll be like, oh, holy shit, pause that for a second. And I keep like notes, reading notes on everything I read. I'll go and copy and paste what just blew my mind, and then I'll paste it into a document. So at the end of the whole thing, I end up with like a document of the best parts of the thing I just read / listened to. Yeah, it's what I do.
No, it's awesome.
I love it. That's where all my like soul anarchist quotes come from.
No, but that's awesome.
Yeah. That's where tons of that stuff comes from. That being said, so the most recent book I've read is a book called The Rational Male by a guy who calls himself Rollo Tomasi, which is a reference to the movie, I think LA Confidential.
Love the movie.
All right. I haven't even seen it. My friends have had to clue me into the reference. Okay. I don't watch a lot of movies. I have to confess. So, but yeah, so this is a book about male female dynamics, which I've been a student of ever since my divorce. Like ever since then, I committed myself to become a student of this and to understand it as deeply as I can. And that's been going on for a long time. So yeah, that one of my dear friends up in Logan, Bracken, he just went through a divorce and he started reading this book, The Rational Male, and he kept telling me, he's like, it's so good, you got to check it out. And Bracken is a smart guy, and so finally I'm like, all right, man, I'll check it out. So I listened to it. It was awesome. I'm on my second round through it right now. Before that, the book I listened to before that was one of Neil Peart's books about his motorcycle tours on the Rush tours. So Neil Peart, the drummer of Rush, he would do this thing for many, many years where he would ride his motorcycle in between cities on the Rush concert tours, while Geddy and Alex would fly like in private jets and stay in like 5-star hotels. Neil would be on his GS 1200, staying in like shitty Best Westerns, like barely making it to concerts on time. And
it's awesome.
I mean, and so, but he wrote 5 books about this. And what was cool, the last one he wrote, like he loves Utah. Neil does. One of the cool serendipities is he was talking about coming into Salt Lake City for their, I forget which tour, maybe their R30 tour, or maybe, I don't know. One of the last tours they did. And as so I live in the Tooele Valley. I live in Stansbury Park. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so as I'm listening to this book, he's talking about riding through the Tooele Valley to get over to the venue over there. The amphitheater. You know, the big one.
The big one?
God, what's it called? Wayne, help me out here.
I'm trying. What the fuck's it called?
It's named after an MLM, I think.
An ML. Oh, Vivint. No. Oh my god.
The other one.
Oh my god.
It's in
no,
West
wait,
Valley.
It's. No, I know. What the hell's wrong with us?
This is bad.
This is way bad.
We call ourselves artists and musicians.
I know. Coming to the amphitheater.
The amphitheater.
Hold on. I can spell amphitheater.
Yeah. You gonna Google it?
Yep.
I was gonna do it too, but I was embarrassed to admit it.
USANA.
Exactly. USANA Amphitheater. So he's talking about riding his motorcycle in, and one thing Neil would do, he'd always take the hardest roads. He would always find like the most, he was so take the road less traveled kind of guy. He would use his, he would map out their route, and he would always take the most back road way he could get to get there. And he was talking about riding through Tooele Valley to get to their show that night. And as I'm hearing him talk about it, I was driving into the Tooele Valley that night. It was so cool. It was so meta, you know?
Awesome.
And he talked so much about how much he loves Moab and southern Utah. Yeah. He talked about stopping for lunch in my hometown Logan at the Bluebird. And he's talked about one of his favorite BMW dealerships for his motorcycle is in Salt Lake City here. He loves Utah, and he's fascinated by Mormons. He talked so much about the Mormon church history in this book, and talked about going to Palmyra and the Sacred Grove and all this stuff. Yeah, he was really intrigued.
Really?
Totally. He talked so much about Mormons in that book. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's amazing, because and I don't know your background. So I've been heavy into the Mormon life for a few years. And at the same time, to go along with what you were saying, I've driven from being on tour, leaving Albuquerque, New Mexico, and coming up through Moab and through southeastern Utah.
Yeah.
As the sun's going down, and stopping at a Chevron station, getting a picture of the Winnebago as the sun's going down, and realizing I may never, ever be back here ever again. At this moment, at the end of something that I love, that I may never, ever do again.
Right.
The combination of the two is unique, because there are some really damn good people in the Mormon religion.
Yeah.
Right or wrong about all of the complexes of it. And we can sit here and argue about the pettiness or the top 20%, right?
Whatever.
But there's some good people, and they have the best intent. And so I think most of humanity does.
I love that. Wayne, Justin.
Either way, you can call me whatever you want, Paul. Duane, I'm going to call you Duane. Duane.
Cheers. All right. So let me
Cheers,
tell
baby.
you one of my litmus tests for people that you just totally pass.
Are we bringing a microphone? When we go to Fisher's, are we bringing a microphone?
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't have to be plugged into anything. I'm just wondering.
We'll just make people can think we're important.
You are.
Your mom is.
D- celebrities right here. D- baby, all day.
So here's this thing, and you just demonstrated something I've believed for a long time that I think is really cool. I believe if you want to learn about somebody's heart and who they are really quickly, you get them talking about the way people are. You get them talking about the generalizing about the state of other people. And because in doing that, people project their own stuff out onto the screen of the way people are. Big finger air quotes for the podcast listeners. And what you just did right there, you're like, I believe people are good. I believe most people are really good. What that tells me is that you believe that you are basically good.
Well,
and that
I believe
is
that
fucking
we are
beautiful.
So and I'm looking it up right now.
It means you're at peace with yourself.
But I am, and it's taken a long time.
I get it. Were you ever? I mean, this could turn into a 4-hour podcast if we're not really careful here.
So Dostoevsky who, for those of you that are still here, God, I feel for you. Go watch Friends or The Office on Netflix or do something. God, you're still here. He has a quote, and I normally I can quote it, but right now I can't. I'm gonna try though. I'm gonna try.
Okay.
Basically, he says, the more that I love, the older I get, the more I hate man. But the more I love mankind.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Dude,
like mankind as a whole, the humanity, the beauty of it, everyone. And I talk to some people and I write like this, even though it doesn't come out, it's country music.
Whoa.
That
I have to look that up.
There's okay, let me break it down this way. There's two things in my opinion, and it's very generalized, and even though it sounds specific, it's not. Two things that make a relationship, I don't care if it's emotional, I don't care if it's friendship, I don't care if it's business, I don't care if it's intimate. Two things that make a marriage last, or a friendship last,
right,
or a business relationship last. Empathy and security in yourself. Those two things balance each other out, because if you have too much empathy, you're always like, oh my God, well, they didn't mean to do that. Oh, I want to take care of them. They meant the best. At some point you need to draw that line and go, I'm okay with myself. I can walk away from this.
Yeah.
And the balance of, but without those two things, it's the yin and the yang again. You end up either drug into an abusive relationship, or you're too fucking rigid in your own life.
Right.
You've been hurt too many times. You've been divorced too many times. Fuck men, fuck women. That you never allow yourself to be loved.
I think that's magnificent. The idea of, so empathy, and the second thing you said, being okay with yourself. How do you put that?
It's the opposite of insecurity, which is security,
being
but
secure
that doesn't come across the right way.
So the thing is beautiful, and I resonate with that so much, because what I've seen this so many times, so many relationship problems, so many insecurities, suspicions, so much relationship bullshit arises from the dark side of what we just talked about. When I was just saying, like, hey man, like, you must be at peace with yourself because you project that out onto humanity. You assume other people are good, and that, like, you have this basic good assumption of mankind. On the flip side, if you're not okay with yourself, you project all kinds of bullshit onto your partner.
Exactly.
All the time.
When you said projection, that's where my head went.
Yeah. So, dude, I totally believe that. Yeah, empathy and being good, secure with yourself. It almost has nothing to do with the other person.
No, it all has to do with you.
That's
Can
wild.
You understand somebody else has their own motivations? And the person that bothers me the most, my pet peeve, is the person that thinks that the world is out to get them. No, they're not. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit. They care about themselves.
Yeah.
And if you understand, if my opinion is right or wrong, if my opinion is right, let's say that 80 to 90% of people are good. That means that their motivations come from a place that they're either trying to take care of themselves, and not in a selfish way necessarily, or they're trying to take care of their family, they're trying to love somebody, or they're trying to just, God, they fucking struggle every day with who they are, and they just want to be the reflection again. They want to see themselves in the world, that they have value.
Yeah.
You know, it's not selfish. Well, but there's the 10% or whatever it is. There is. It exists.
Yeah. Now I want to ask you about some Ayn Randian ideas of selfishness and individualism. Being a Russian literature scholar, you are. What? And the Rush fan I am. A lot of Rush's early lyrics are informed by her.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
So other than
I
Tom
gotta send you
Sawyer,
some stuff.
I don't know. You're going to hate me. I don't know much Rush.
It's okay. Consider me an angel come to bestow the gospel of Rush in your life.
I was so gonna make a Joseph Smith and the Angel Moroni joke, but I won't.
Yeah, I'm here to trumpet forth the gospel of Rush. I can see that your heart is ready for it.
I just woke up. Enlighten me.
I mean, I will, you know. So there's this song called Anthem.
After the book?
Maybe so, you know.
What?
So a couple of their albums are directly referencing Ayn Rand. And it's interesting,
idea.
like early Rush is very astutely, or very, hold on. It's very, yeah, it's very grounded in the kind of rugged individualism that Ayn Rand put forth. And it's interesting because over the years, Neil Peart, the drummer, he was also the lyricist of Rush. He did all their lyrics. The lyrical themes evolved over time and became a little more open. And he, in his last years, he even talked about how he went from being, he characterized himself as being, a young man in those days and having some of that energy. And as he got older, to becoming more of a bleeding heart libertarian, as he put it, like a left-leaning libertarian, or was it called a little L
I would say it's where I'm at.
I think a lot of us do that, Yeah, I think a lot of us do that. I certainly have,
I am.
I'm very much a libertarian, but definitely little L, and I lean left a bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, in the lyrics to Anthem, let's see, Anthem by Rush. Yeah, tell me if this rings any bells for you.
Okay.
Let's see, lyrics. Oh shit! No, that's the wrong. Google, you failed me. All right, brought up the wrong song. Okay, all right, here we go. You ready for this?
Yep.
All right, I have some other thoughts about your Winnebago that I need to share with you in a second. By the way,
If it has to do with Lysol, that's none of my business.
No, it has to do with other things, grander things. Okay, grander visions. Know your place in life is where you want to be. Don't let them tell you that you owe it all to me. Keep on looking forward. No use in looking round. Hold your head above the crowd. They won't bring you down. Anthem of the heart, an anthem of the mind, a funeral dirge for eyes gone blind. We marvel after those who sought wonders in the world, wonders in the world, wonders in the world they wrought. Live for yourself. There's no one else more worth living for. Begging hands and bleeding hearts will only cry out for more. And anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's unique because Ayn Rand was born in Russia, right? She grew up there.
Yeah.
She grew up where and without somebody knowing socialism or more specifically communism of the disparity between the two. Socialism or communism, sometimes as it gets farther along, becomes two things. We take care of everybody. And why are you not taking care of everybody? Right? And so she leaves that and comes to the United States. And so suddenly she breaks free of that and she writes Anthem, which is self-determination.
Right.
And as much as, the problem with Ayn Rand is she takes the heart out of all of it. She takes the empathy out of it.
Right.
That's my only problem with her is she takes the empathy out of it. She's like, fuck everybody. I'm going to do what I do. My head is above the crowd. I'm going to do what I do for me. And altruism is the idea that you live your life for you only and that no good comes from taking care of somebody else. Selfishness and there's a balance there because as much as everyone likes to throw Ayn Rand into capitalism and selfishness, in fact, her book is Atlas Shrugged, as well as The Fountainhead, has to do with selfishness is not something you should be ashamed of.
Right.
Now, I agree to an extent, but God, there's beauty about taking care of other people. So anyways, I know I'm getting way off.
So you're basically saying Ayn Rand is very reactionary from where she came from.
Where she is, but at the same time, she's not wrong. She's just throw a little bit of love in there.
Right.
A little bit of love. And that's why I love that you said, I'm a bleeding heart libertarian.
Yeah.
That nails it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this idea of I value freedom for myself and I want to be able to do the things that make me happy. And I want the same thing for you too.
Yeah. And you've seen the Libertarians anthem, right? Or the, it's a joke to an extent, but it's like libertarians out to take over the world so we can leave you the hell alone.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. I don't give a shit.
I love that.
Just leave me alone too.
For sure.
And of course it's not that easy, but
yeah, it gets libertarianism as a political movement is God, dude, like this whole thing, everything that's going on in my life got started because of libertarianism. Many years ago, I was a mailman, and back
what?
in yeah.
Wait, were you wearing the skirt and heels?
Well, not on my route.
Damn it!
But I wore the shorts.
I would have moved into your
So
area.
here's the funny thing. So at that point, like I always shave my legs. I always have, you know.
God, you must be a swimmer.
What? Oh,
you must be a swimmer.
No, I just like it. And
damn right.
Yeah, but I at that time when I was a letter carrier, I had long hair too, like really long blonde hair, and a lot of times from behind people with the on my mail route, they'd be like, "Hey, mail lady." And they'd turn around and they'd see me like the front of my face. They'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry,
God.
Man.
That reminds me of an Aerosmith song. Yeah. It's funny as hell. Yeah. But that I digress. So back then.
No, you don't.
It was from 2008 to 2012 that I was working for the Postal Service. And those were the 2 years Ron Paul ran for president. Right. And I was a newcomer to libertarian thought at that time. And I started listening to several podcasts that some friends had suggested to me. And I started paying more attention to what Ron Paul was doing. And I was so inspired by libertarianism. It's a beautiful ideology. And
it is.
Frankly, it's what everybody wants. Like people are way more libertarian than they realize. Like everybody, I don't care who you think you're voting for. I don't care who you think your allegiances lie with. You believe in live and let live. And libertarianism is the only party that stands up for that by principle.
Exactly.
The only fucking one. Agree. The problem is that libertarians, from that point on, it's like herding cats to get them into a cohesive movement.
It's two things. It's the Avengers movie again, right? No, you know what I'm saying? It's like Democrat, Republican. Well, I want to go see Avengers. Well, I want to go see Spider-Man. You know, there's a great movie out called blah, blah, blah. Never heard of it. Or at the same time, you're right, herding cats. I'm sorry. And I voted Libertarian last election.
So did I.
Gary Johnson. Who the hell do we have? I mean, Johnson, I loved him, but I really did.
Dude, we don't even know who the Libertarian candidate is this time. But it doesn't matter because Trump's winning. And I don't say that because I'm a Trump lover. I'm a weather predictor, okay? I'm a fucking weatherman, okay? I just can see what's coming. That's all.
He is. He's going to win.
He's going to win. I think he's a lot.
Yep. He's a lock.
For fucking sure. But that being said, I think so one of my dear friends, Charlene, she's been involved. She was Gary Johnson's campaign manager for the Western region.
Really?
Yeah. His campaign headquarters were here in Salt Lake. Like I've met Gary, I've taken his picture. Yeah. Like he was in town a lot.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. On South Temple. Yeah. And but anyway, she told me that the Libertarian Convention is amazingly fun because of all the people that show up.
Well, when it's live and let live at a convention.
Oh my God. Yeah. She says it's just,
I know.
it is a
We're
freak
actually
show
damaging
unparalleled,
the
maybe
image.
to Burning Man, you know. I want to go.
Me too.
Oh, do you want to go?
I'm in.
Let's make a long weekend out of it.
I'm so in.
Hell yeah.
Dying to go.
Okay, sweet.
Dying to go.
Okay, let's get it.
Hey,
Let's calendar it
I'm
up
out of
after
beer
this is
again,
done here.
But I'm going to cheers you with everything I've drank. So.
Oh, hold on. Let me get it. Hold on a second.
No.
Let me just a second here. And there's one of these little. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, I gotta
Dude,
put them back.
that would be amazing. That will be amazingly fun.
I need to lose some weight.
Yeah, me too. But whatever. What does that have to do
Oh,
with
you
Libertarian
don't
Convention?
either. What are you talking about? Have you seen your calves?
Yeah.
Let me show you a picture. I'm going to text you a picture right
Of what?
now of your calves.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. You'd look better. Anyways.
But what does that have to do with the Libertarian Convention?
Oh, so my problem with it is that what they're missing is, so it's like music. The radio industry and the music or as a musician, it's the same thing, right? There's three pieces to it.
Dude, you're about to say it. Go ahead, do it. Do it.
No, I know, but it's
I know
for
where you're
me.
going.
It's I have fans, and I have the music.
Yeah.
There's two.
Yeah.
What's the third part? The business side of it.
Sex.
Sex. Well, the sex is the fans.
Pussy. Pussy or death.
It is pussy and death.
Unless you can inspire your fans with fear of death or love of pussy, you're not going anywhere.
So exactly. So the libertarians are missing the sex part.
Exactly.
Of it.
Dude, Wayne Hoskins, Dustin Wayne.
They're
whatever.
missing the sex part. You can't have Jesse Ventura or whoever the hell that was in the last election being a representative of us.
You get this. So back in those mail days, like this was my original epiphany. This is one of my epiphanies. Like I'm listening to Ron Paul talk. I'm like, oh my God, this is the most elegant political philosophy known to mankind. Okay.
Right.
It is phenomenal. It is what all people believe in, but just don't know it yet.
Right.
It is. And I'm listening to the media just shit all over them, and I'm seeing pictures of the stupid libertarians holding up like Ron Paul Revolution signs on bed sheets and stuff, which is like cool and stuff. Like
it is.
I made a stencil myself. Yep. I have a shirt in my closet somewhere of a Ron Paul Revolution thing. You do?
Yeah, me too.
Fuck yeah. Dude,
but
I knew I was going to be friends with you. Okay.
Well, I know, but the problem
there's
is
no sex
that only
in it.
goes so far.
There's no sex in it. Like libertarianism is like the most sexy ideology, but the libertarians themselves are like the least sexy people for the most part. There are a couple very sexy libertarians out there, like a couple, but we need way more. We need tons more sex in the Libertarian Party. And so I made up my mind. I'm like, I don't know how, I don't know how or when, but I'm going to put the sex back in libertarianism. By God.
Why are you not running? It's my dad, no. my dad says to me at least once a week, why don't you run for office? I'm like,
because it would suck no one would vote
That's why,
for
Dad.
me.
No, well, number one, I've got a little bit of background and it has nothing to do with those 15 things. Number two, no one would vote for me.
Same.
The problem, it's the same thing with, I'm sorry, I keep dwelling on it. It's the Avengers. The mass public is too caught up in wanting to be, they want to be, this is where again, the last third people that are still here listening, they turn it off. They want to be spoon fed.
Just click stop now.
They want to be spoon fed.
They do.
They do. If you're on Facebook and you see a trailer of a movie and it has an actor in it that you know, you might watch the movie.
Yeah.
If it's somebody you don't know, why waste your time?
I was on Twitter the other day talking shit on the Utah legislature.
Sinner.
Right. And so I'm friends with a few senators. And,
Sinner.
Right. One of them is Senator Thatcher. Okay.
Right.
From, I think, Magna. Anyway, like, I'm talking shit on the Utah legislature about something. What, I don't even remember what it was, because it was fleeting. Because that's Twitter. Okay. Yeah.
Fleeting is the right word.
Yeah, it was fleeting, and I'm like, oh, the Utah legislature doesn't give a shit about the people, blah, 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 blah. They're self-interested, blah, 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 blah. And then whatever. I didn't think anything of it. And Senator Thatcher chimes back in. He tweets back at me. He's like, we have a really hard job here. Like, maybe you should try running. I think you'd be really good at it. And he's like, and then he texts me his phone number. He's like, call me if you want to talk about this. Like, anytime you want to talk about it. I'm like, but dude,
Paul.
So
Paul, you're not listening to me. Paul,
what?
I will be your campaign manager. I'm really good on Photoshop.
Dude, okay. There's one way I've thought about doing this for real, okay? I'm like the most unelectable person ever, okay? However, I think it could be fun, okay?
Like, oh my God, who gives?
Like, imagine, like, if whatever, like, wherever I live in Utah, like, if I move to Bountiful or I move to Provo or I move to, like, Conwood Heights or whatever, like, they know that, like, okay, let me back up. In the Libertarian Party, there's this guy called Vermin Supreme. Do you know who he is?
Like, oh my! We all get ponies or unicorns.
He wears it.
And
yes,
he has a rubber boot
one
on
of his
his
campaign
head.
promises that everybody gets ponies, and
You're
he
right,
wears
ponies.
a boot on his head all the time. He's ridiculous, and he's funny as hell.
As much as I love him, God, he ruins us.
He does ruin us for sure. So in that regard, I think I might ruin the Utah legislature. Okay, by running. Like, my whole thing might be, like, if I ever ran, it would be only in nylons and heels and with the most ridiculous of libertarian claims on the table, So, and it would be like this whole thing. I don't expect to win. The only thing I'm doing,
you would not win.
I'm not going to win, but I will engage all of my opponents in the most ridiculous of debates that the news will cover. That's it. The stupidest of debates, like the dumbest fucking questions ever.
I think you.
You know what I'm saying?
You ready?
Let's hear it.
I need to enunciate this well.
Okay.
I think you devalue yourself. I think you do.
What do you mean?
Now, as much as you and I, no, I don't disagree with you.
I don't want the job.
No, I know.
It's dirty.
It's not about that.
I'm too pure for that. I'm not that pure. Let's be honest.
No,
okay?
you do have a nice ass. But
I'm like medium pure. But like politician pure is like here, okay?
Politician.
Politician pure is like here, and I'm like here.
You've gone down a million roads right there. Politicians are watered down because we expect them to be perfect. Now, back to, I think you devalue yourself because just like your art, just like that picture we keep talking about, or that song, those few, you're going to influence somebody.
Well, like,
and I don't need to get really weird.
I get that.
No, but you do, because
which is
that's
great.
What, that's what it's
awesome.
about. I hate the term revolution because it always sounds like somebody's coming in and trying to change everything. Mm-hmm. How the hell Calvin Coolidge, President Coolidge, is the only president ever to roll back regulations ever than any president ever.
And we never hear about him.
Never.
Like, except for now.
How do we?
This is it.
Well, because if you got up and let's say you ran for president and you got up and said, I'm actually not going to do anything. I'm going to actually back off everything. You want this fixed? I'm going to back off. Hey, you want that fixed? I'm going to back off. I'm going to roll back some regulations. You would never get elected.
I know.
Ever.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants things fixed, which means you take action, which means you regulate something or you put a law on something or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's that 5 to 10% of the population that would hear you and go, what the hell? I'm a hairdresser and I live in Colorado and I want to move to Utah and I can't go to Utah and cut hair. That's stupid. Why can't I do that? Well, I'm a doctor and they need me in Nevada and I live in Ohio and I can't go to Nevada and practice medicine.
Mm-hmm.
They need me there. What the hell's wrong with this world? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I've got a podcast for you, by the way.
Yeah. The world is full of weird possibilities, my friend.
I would support you, and I would support you more than just your vote.
Thanks, man.
I really would. I'd create all your brochures.
Oh, hell yeah.
I would voice over all your documentaries.
Perfect. Your voice is better than mine. That'd be great.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying never because I've learned to never say never because every time I say never, I end up doing it like 6 weeks later. Like
exactly.
Every time in my life, if I say, I'm never going to do this, 6 weeks later, I'm in it. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You're drunk, face down your own vomit in Tijuana. I know.
Or
I've been there.
something like it, you know. Yeah. So, yeah. That's how I got into video editing. I made some retarded, bold declaration to the universe. I was never going to become a video editor. And the universe is like, oh, really?
Oh, yeah, really?
Oh, really? You say
God
never,
is like,
huh? Buckle in, motherfucker. You know?
Little nudge.
It's happened to me a lot of times and a lot of other things. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, I'm not saying I would never do it. All I'm saying is it doesn't seem that interesting right now.
Well, my grandfather was a state senator.
Oh, you're of that lineage.
The county commissioner, as well as his first cousin was the governor.
Uh-huh.
So I've got a lot of politics in me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for the listeners who don't know it, he disclosed his true last name earlier, which is Bangerter, which is a big name in Utah. We had a governor, Bangerter, which is, you just mentioned, family.
There's a road.
Mm-hmm. There's a highway. I rode that highway on the way to have my Chinese lunch and Corona beers with the other day. I did. I rode Bangerter all the way up.
Well, that sounds kinky. But
I mean, it was pretty. I wish it was kinkier than it was. It was just windy.
55 miles an hour the whole way.
Yeah, pretty much. It was kind of boring.
Yeah.
But whatever. Boring's fine.
Boring's good.
It's fine.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, this has been really fun.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate it. Next, when
we're not grounded anymore,
drinking Corona, the PPR virus is over. Fishers.
When Grandpa Government lets us out of the house again, it's on.
Mr. Herbert.
Dude, you don't have to tell your bass player to watch a step, but I'm just telling you, you should watch your bass player's step because, I'm not the best bass player, but I'm the most awesome bass player. I'll say that.
So I'm going to send him a message when we get off right here. I'm going to send him a message and say, Paul Duane thinks you're a piece of shit. No, if you know him,
he thinks your tone is weak.
The three of us need to go drink beer. And Clark is a god. He is.
Oh, nice.
6'3", a little fat, big red beard, big red afro.
I don't even have that to brag.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds great.
You got like I said, I'm going to send you a picture with your calves later. So
I don't know, but if we're playing country tunes, bro, I'm just going to be up there in jeans and boots and a like a black shirt. I'm a pretty boring guy.
No, yeah, but the country crowd. So we, not to get off. I know we're about ready to wrap up. But
what you got?
So we played that Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
1015 The Eagle. Opening for Chris Young. There were three of us, three bands.
Yeah.
So we opened with Folsom Prison by Cash.
Right.
And then we played two of our own songs. By the second chorus of the second song, 5,000 people were singing with us.
Oh, shit. That sounds glorious.
Oh, my God. The country crowd is absolutely incredible. The best people, they have heart, they got love,
Dude.
they don't care, they want to be a part of it, they want to live, they want to experience. Whereas the rock crowd, and especially the R&B rap crowd,
Yeah.
they want to be impressed.
So, Dustin Wayne Hoskins band. I have two things to tell you, okay? Two things I've seen in my prophetic vision. Number one, okay, have you seen them? I'm guessing you're familiar with the movie Spaceballs.
I'm an asshole, you're an asshole. That's my cousin.
Right.
He's an asshole too.
We're combing the desert.
We ain't found shit.
Right. No, sir. I haven't seen you playing with your dolls again, sir.
Exactly.
Right.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
So, are you familiar with the Burning Man Festival? It's not a festival.
A little bit.
The Burning Man experience, I should say. Whatever.
Yeah.
So
no,
Burning
it is.
Man,
Yeah.
So one of the things about Burning Man is taking an art car out there. It's like taking a vehicle that's decorated in a certain way.
Right.
My life will not be complete until I get a Winnebago of the exact model of that and put wings on it and go to Burning Man with like a Spaceballs Winnebago.
Oh my God, let's do it.
And a couple of like maybe hot babes, like one is like Dot, the robot, and
Yeah.
like
Stop looking
and
at my
Princess
can.
Vespa,
Right.
they'll dress up like that.
Oh yeah.
One of us can be Barf, one of us can be Prince Lone Star. It's fine. I'll even be the priest. Like, we'll do the short version. Do you? Good. You're married. See, I got the lines down,
Flamethrowers, the kids love it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I really, really want to go to Burning Man with like the Winnebago from Spaceballs.
Let's figure it out. Now, unfortunately, we sold the Winnebago.
There's more of them out there. It's fine.
I know there are, so let's find one.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
I don't give a shit. Let's find one.
Okay, done. All right. It'll be
Okay.
great. Number two.
Okay.
I have to tell you, this is a little more near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
We're going to get super realsies for a second. Drink some beer with me for a second, okay? All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So this country thing. Many years ago, I'm not the biggest country fan.
Neither am I.
I know.
Oh,
Which is why you're
don't
the
tell
perfect
anybody.
person to
Don't tell
us to.
anybody.
You're the country music artist. Okay. Okay.
God damn it. That's so fucked.
A couple years ago, like when I was a senior in high school, right?
Yeah. This is like last year.
Yeah, it was recently, like pretty fresh.
Yeah.
I had this vision in my head. I went through this little phase where I started listening to a lot of country music for like 9 months or so, right?
Okay.
And I had this vision in my head of traveling around, being on the road, and playing as a hired gun in a country band, and I still listen. I listen to a little country music here and there. Like, have a country music playlist.
Yeah, so do I.
I do. Like, I don't listen to it a lot, but I can get into it. Like, I have that bone in my body for sure. And so I had this vision of participating in that and like going out and playing in places like that. And so anyway,
You're in.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
No, you're in.
Brilliant.
You need to meet Clark.
Okay.
You're in. Okay? You're in. This is not even a question. I mean, he'll be like, no, you meet Clark, you'll be like, whatever. And who cares? Come out and sing Friends in Low Places.
Perfect.
We'll just and I don't. We intentionally slaughter the song.
Good.
We intentionally slaughter it.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe,
Okay.
Maybe's some stuff.
I don't know if it's a maybe. Paul, I'm going to be honest. It's not a maybe.
This feels more like destiny. Dustin.
I need to get back in character. It's not a maybe.
Oh God, this has been fun. Let us pray that next time it will be in person at Fisher.
Damn right. Where are we at? We're like, it's only been like 45 minutes, hasn't it?
We're at, you really want to know?
3.5 hours.
Real close. 3 hours, 22 minutes.
Oh,
we're at Joe Rogan status right now.
God, I haven't peed in an hour and 45.
Yeah, I'm ready to, man.
I'm there as well.
All right.
Okay, man.
Dude, brother, it's been so good. It's been so good. It's everything I hoped it would be. Cheers, my friend.
You too, man.
We'll see you soon.
You too, dude. All right. Thanks,
well.
Paul. Talk to you then.
Well, there you have it, brothers and sisters and everyone in between. Are you still here? Yeah? Yeah? Good. I hope you enjoyed that chat as much as I and Wayne. Dustin. God damn it. I always just want to call him Wayne. The Wayne Duane band. I'm telling you, that's going to happen. Anyway, we had a good time. Hope you enjoyed it too. You can check out their new album, Washington Boulevard, on Spotify and any of the other streaming services. Also, check out more about their band at thewayne.com. That's TheWane.com. Or you may just go to the show notes, and I'll have links to all these things. Show notes over at soulanarchist.com. While you're at soulanarchist.com, you can also pick up one of our new shirts. We've got a bunch of shirt designs I've been working on. Of course, there's the How Dare You t-shirt series. And then I've also got a series inspired by the pandemic. Social distancing since ... your birthday. I have one that says social distancing since 1976 because that's when I was born. I've had people ordering them all over the world, and it's cool to see them start to show up on social media. You can get yours as well. Just go to soulanarchist.com. There's a link there. We've got a premium men's or women's shirt for you with your birth year on it. You can order those up. They're $19. Get them while we've got them, and while the coronavirus thing is still happening. Get your piece of history on your chest, Soul Anarchist style. All right, one other thing. Speaking of Soul Anarchist style, if you enjoy what we're doing here and would like to support the show is not free for me to produce. It is a very costly thing, in fact, but I love doing it, and I love it when you support it. People that support the show get access to other special content and other special perks, such as a little shout out, giving some love to some of my Patreon supporters: Ben Richardson, Daniel Dumbrell, Jake Cope, Jake Garn, somebody that just goes by the letter P, Grant and Rachel Robbins. Thank you all very much for being premium supporters of the show. And if you want to get into that little club where I shout out your name on the air, just again, go to soulanarchist.com and look for the link for the Soul Anarchist Society. Join today. I will love you so very much for supporting the show with your monthly support, and I'll give you lots of love in return. All right, brothers and sisters and everyone in between, I'm good. Are you good? I think we're all good. Remember, you know the thing, when you live authentically and you show up in the world in your purpose as much as you can, two cool things happen. Number one, it's super fun. Yay! Everybody loves fun, and it just feels good. And number two, you give other people permission to do the same thing. People watch you, and you give them permission to live authentically themselves, and so we make the world a better place. It's a beautiful thing. That's one of the things that makes us soul anarchists. We set our friends and family and neighbors free with our glorious examples of liberated, free living. It's so dramatic. The music's not very dramatic, though. It doesn't even match. All right, my friends, let's get out of here. Love you all very much. Keep up the fine work. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.